guy.
Okay, cool.
He's gonna be like that. What was the guy that we had on that was like just yakking it up before, and then it was just like
Brian.
Brian.
Dude, Brian freaking Casco, man. If you're listening to this, guys, this is the Toasty Podcast. Brian, you need to come back on the show and actually talk this time. I would love it. Also, guys, thank you for joining us. This is the Toasty Podcast. Like I just said, if this is your first time joining us, thank you for listening and share the show. That is how we grow. Today, we have a special guest. His name is Chris. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that later. No worries on that. But if you guys haven't done this already, go to toastycreations.com/shop and you can see all the merch we have to offer. That merch actually helps our show as well. It is considered a donation, but you're actually getting something in return. I don't like using Patreon anymore because Patreon has, well, gone woke, and I'm not woke, and we aren't woke, and this podcast is not woke. So, with that said, guys, let's get into it. Oh, guys, also disclaimer, this is a Shop Talk show, so there will be cussing. There will be gay jokes. There will be jokes about everything, guys.
Crudeness.
There will be crudeness
alert, guys.
and vulgarness and all that stuff. If you're watching on the TV and your kid's right beside you, kick the kid out or turn the TV off and watch on your phone.
So what I do with my kid, I just put duct tape like all over his face so he can't see or hear anything. As long as he can breathe, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Don't worry about it.
There's your parenting tip from Matt.
Hey, he can smoke cigars at 2 weeks. I mean, he can handle some shop talk, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So Matt's a new parent, guys. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Don't call CPS on me.
We worked in the dealership industry for a while with Chris. That's how we know him. I worked with him in a Fort Worth location, and I worked with him at an Arlington location. But besides that, we kind of want to get into the car industry and how it's changed over the years, probably because Chris has been in it a long time, and how it might just be going downhill, in my opinion.
So real quick, you started in what year?
02.
02. So I was in fourth grade.
Yeah.
What are we trying to do here? We're trying to age
Just
our
trying to
guests?
make him feel old. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Age
essentially
the
what we're
guest.
Thanks, Matt.
You suck. No, I'm just kidding.
It was George
This is,
Bush's second year in office.
We don't do that to all
So-
of our guests, by the way.
Wow.
I'm just saying he's been in the industry a long time.
Yeah, he has.
That's my real point.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
He's seen some changes.
Yeah, and I think my whole thing was as soon as I got into it in 2013, it started to hit me that it seemed like a losing battle. I got into it and I'm all gung ho and everything's great and dandy and I started making some money or whatever and then 2 years, 3 years go by and then I'm like, wait a second, because lots of changes started to happen. They just take more and more away and then they put all this stuff we have to do on top of that. I'm like, what's going on here? And they don't pay the starting pay is always the same, even though the top pay might change. There wasn't any weird there wasn't any progression for the society we live in today. That's kind of how I saw it. And so how I see it now is when are dealerships going to die? I have no idea. But I compare it a lot to financial institutions and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What was your starting pay?
My starting pay was $13.
Yeah, when I started it was 8, and then we went to 10.
See?
Shortly at the tail end of mine.
Right.
We went to 10.
Dad, what are we at? Do you know? 15?
A lot of them started around 18.
If they have school, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't have school, and that was the excuse. So here's $13 because you don't have school. If you had school, we'd start you out at 16. That's what I was told.
Yeah. Yeah, I think 15 probably right now.
So,
I was guessing
and that's my thing.
sounds
So
like.
2013, it was about the same.
Well, the dealership I started me off way lower than that. I feel like.
Really?
I feel like it was lower than 15.
Well, you went to school?
Mm-hmm. I did, but I didn't graduate. I only went for 6 months, and Degas was like,
You need to stop
"Don't
going to
go.
school.
You need to stop. It's a waste
See,
of money."
that's-
And he was totally right, 100% right.
Oh, for sure. The UTI and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
tell everybody that comes in,
Huge.
guys, you need to stop.
If it
Don't do
was
that.
a third the price, if it was only $10,000 for the whole year, then
Right.
it might be worth it. Okay.
But what did you honestly learn?
I mean,
You learned theory.
yeah, there's a
You
lot
learn
of theory,
theory.
and then there's a lot of yeah, you're not gonna learn a lot of practical
Yeah.
Right.
in shop.
So
Yeah.
it's not science. Theory does not teach you. Theory does not teach you how to work on a car.
No.
Yeah, it's like
You know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a liberal arts degree.
And how long did you train for when
like a
online?
liberal.
It is. I have both, so I definitely
Oh,
know.
God. Oh, God.
I've wasted so much time in education when I could
We're
have just
talking
been
to
out
you,
in the
UNT.
field.
Oh,
I'm just
God.
kidding.
I'm A&M.
I know,
that's
but
a school
A&M seems more. I can't rag on A&M because it's actually like
Yeah,
prestigious.
tons of good
you
engineers.
know what I mean? I can't.
The engineering school is like.
And you're
absurd.
not dumb, you know. So
I mean.
political science.
How's
Okay,
that working
whatever.
out for you?
Yeah, exactly.
How's that degree
I
going?
use my degree for this podcast.
Wow. Mama's proud.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom is pissed. I became a mechanic. Well, the thing is, right before I even graduated high school, I said, "Mom, I want to be a mechanic. I want to go to WyoTech. That's what I want to do." And she said, "Here, look, this is the deal I'm gonna make you. You can either go to WyoTech in Wyoming, put yourself through school, okay, basically be on your own, or I'll put you through a 4-year college of your choice in Texas." And I said, "Okay, sounds like free college is what I'm gonna do."
Well, that right there, dude.
And I
is,
freaking spun my wheels, not knowing what I was going to do for 5 years, because I did the college thing, lived the college life, changed majors 2 times, had 3 different majors,
By college life, do you mean like?
partied a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
Just wanted to make that clear for the listeners.
Yes. All sorts of stuff, and then yeah, went from business management was when I went to Texas State. That's what I first majored in, and then I went to agricultural economics, which was awesome. I wish I would have just stuck with that, honestly. And then because that's very practical. And then I went to poli-sci once I started
you
at
have a
A&M.
pecan farm now. That's why
Mhm.
that would be practical.
Yeah, I actually have things I could use that degree for. But I mean, I did study, agricultural classes for 2.5 years. So it wasn't just like I didn't learn anything or I was wasting my time. I took a lot of different agronomy classes and
This might be something like pretty.
agri-econ and stuff like that.
Maybe it's too early to say this, but degrees almost seem like they're becoming meaningless, where you can like get all the info you need everywhere. Isn't that interesting?
Absolutely.
You don't know agricultural economics? You can go online and figure that crap
A&M
out.
itself has resources
So
you can
weird.
use.
Yeah, and a lot of the colleges have free resources already.
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing this, man?
The main benefit of going to college is for making those connections.
That's definitely true, and that's what I think. Like high school and college is like a social experiment,
Networking.
and you need to come out ahead. And if you don't
Mhm.
come out ahead, you won't do it. Because you need to be able to like talk to people and be into it and stuff. So
Mhm.
to get anywhere,
Yeah.
it's still who you know, not what you know.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
Yeah.
Just like it always has been and
Still who
always
you know.
will be.
It always
because
will be,
That's
yeah.
the way humans are.
influencing
Until
bro.
humans no longer have personalities, it's only gonna be who you know.
Yeah, there are still people on Instagram making money from influencing. So
Yeah.
if that tells you anything, right? Everyone thinks it's saturated. There's still people making money from it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
You want to see my feet?
No.
OnlyFans.
So what did you? Oh. Well, we see how he makes his money, right?
Yeah.
His feet on OnlyFans.
Every
He's-
shop has a
he's-
bathroom.
He says he works on cars,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
Every
but
shop has a
secretly. No, but what do you think about what I said? So like about it dying. What's the biggest problem in the industry right now?
Personnel.
Right
The
now.
lack thereof.
Okay, but
Okay.
hold on a second though.
Is that
Gotta
because of training?
specify that. Is it because of COVID, like personnel, or are you saying like?
Yeah, it looks like overall we need more than what we're getting. They need more techs than is being provided.
Okay.
Like everybody's wanting to hire, and there are people to fill the job technically, but skilled labor at a high level is very difficult to find now.
Right.
Very difficult.
Nobody wants to pay for training either. They don't want to
No.
invest in that tech and then have that
No.
tech just jump ship
Yeah.
to go to
No.
another.
Right, and like
You'll see a lot of people. I saw it when I was leaving school. Was a lot of people were doing year contracts. Like, look, we'll pay you. We'll give you a signing bonus of $2,000, which to someone entering the tech field, it's like, oh my gosh, that's so much money. And then they're contracted to that dealership for a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And nowadays nobody has really a training protocol per se.
Mhm.
It's get online as fast as possible. Usually 3 months ish
Mhm.
if you're lucky, and that's all you got.
so by get on the line, that's them getting on flat rate. So they're
Yep.
starting to work on cars, commission.
And being on
basically,
your
is
own.
what it is.
Right.
Yep.
Instead of hourly.
Yeah. So how it works in the dealership industry is it's commission based kind of, but the way they talk about it is flat rate. So you make a certain amount of hours per job that you do on a car.
Like an oil change, for example, is half an hour.
Half an hour. So if you can do it in, less than half an hour, then you've made some money. That's essentially the idea.
Or if you can do
you're good at your
3 oil
job.
changes in an hour, then you made an hour and a half in an hour.
Right, and so the longer you do this job, the better you get at it. And so experience is pretty much where it's at, you know. And
efficiency. There's all those people that are really experienced that are just not efficient. They're just slow. They just want to go. They just want to go at their own pace. And some people are just like little perfectionists. Like there's Josh that we used to work with. Really, really, really good tech, but he doesn't work super fast. He works.
Not a production guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think there might be an issue in dealerships. You know, it's just greed, right? They don't
want those guys anymore. They don't want those guys. They don't want the quality. They want the.
You could have 1 or 2 of those guys in the shop, and it's necessary, in my opinion. And then all the rest of the guys just like banging it out, doing really good freaking production. In my opinion, that seems like a good idea. And then it turns out those 2 guys would be the foreman. But that's not what I see anymore, I guess. I don't know. I worked at 5 different dealers, and all of them were kind of the same. You know, the foremen are the ones that knew somebody, and they weren't the guy that actually knew all about it and didn't care about making the hours or the money. You know.
The interesting thing about Ford specifically is that they specialize. So we have like people that just work on suspension, people that just do heavy line engines and then we have just transmissions. And then just interior and trim, and then just quick service. So it's very specialized.
Do you think that works better?
Yes.
Because I heard a lot about really.
Absolutely, it does.
It just, and maybe it does. I just feel like
you're
creating
for Ford
machines.
at least. Yeah.
I don't like that.
I mean,
dang, that's how it works better. I know, and that's
money.
how like Toyota factories and stuff, dude. That's how they work.
I mean, that's an assembly line.
Yeah, Toyota, but dude, I don't know what Toyota's crazy, man. They like base it off of some crazy tradition in martial arts to do this like thing in their factory, run it the way they do. It's weird, and they're super efficient. So yeah, they're super efficient, but apparently it's amazing. I don't know. And they do that. They specialize. Each person does this and that and whatever, and then they just do it day in and day out. But wouldn't that get boring? I mean, I don't know. You know, that's how I see it.
The heavy line guys at Ford are not happy people. They're grumpy dudes that make 50 hours a week doing heavy, hard work. You know? And I'm over there making like 70, 80, 90 hours a week, just like maintenance all day.
Right.
Mostly.
Yeah. Did they choose it? You know, did they choose that position?
That's the thing most of the time they do, because that's just what the work they like. They don't want to get, they're too, physically big with big bulky hands that can't do trim work.
Yeah.
Our trim guy is like a little bit shorter than me, and he's little and skinny, but he knows he can take apart any dash in half an hour.
Well, so you're seeing this firsthand though, the training thing, right?
Yeah, we're seeing. I mean, you can see where they want to pay based on training. You know, how many classes do we send you to? You get a pay raise. But training is not as important as experience. Experience is what matters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you come into the field with experience, that is way more valuable than, well, I have a piece of paper from a tech school.
Right.
This is my first job. Now pay me. It doesn't work. That's not the same. Experience is what wins.
Right.
And that's how you build your shop. You want the most experienced people you can afford.
Sure.
And when you take that attitude of, well, we want a lot of low-end guys that we can afford, that they'll do work very cheap, and we make better gross profit.
Right.
So when you start seeing that, you're like, well, what about the old-timers?
Well, so what happens whenever you push all the old-timers out because they don't want to be there anymore?
Well, and you can look at it. So right now, the oldest person we have is 55. When I came in the field, people that I worked with were in their late 30s, 40s. I saw a guy retire at 65 as a tech. You're not going to see that ever again. So how do you explain what happened? Now part of the issue is, where did all those people go between me and them? Where did they go? Those guys typically should have been your managers at some point. That's what they do when they retire. They move up, or they go to a foreman, they go to a service director, service manager, service writer. Where'd they go? They're not out there anymore. And that becomes the question is, why did those people leave the field? Because you know how incredibly rare it is to find like a master Ford tech or any kind of highline tech that's a master ready to go, that walks into your dealership looking for a job. It's very rare that you find somebody like that. And the question is why? What's happened? What do we do here?
Right. Yeah, because I would say like a lot of industries have the problem right now with our generation, specifically millennials, not wanting to work at a job for 30 years and retire.
Yeah.
I don't want it. That's not attractive.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to do that
Yeah.
anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
why would we? That's a waste of life, in my opinion, and that's what ends up being, right?
Yeah.
So there's that on top of the dealership itself has a problem somewhere down the line where these old guys are like, this sucks, I'm out.
I think
Maybe it's because they don't get promoted.
I
Maybe
think a
that's what
lot
I'm
of it
saying.
is dealerships want to implement all these changes and are more focused on profit.
Yeah, the gross profit.
Yeah.
Whereas a mom and pop shop, they can open up a mom and pop shop themselves. They can work their own
Mhm.
hours, do their own thing, make their own money, be in charge of their own atmosphere, and then they have 3 or 4 of their buddies working with them.
Yep.
Perfectly harmonious little mom and pop shop.
Yep.
So a lot of those started springing up.
Right.
And that the thing is, those do really well when the economy is good, but when the economy starts to dip a little bit, those are the ones that tend to fall off because the profit margins are pretty thin.
You say that, and you're right about the profit margins for sure. I could also argue the opposite for used car market. So when the economy goes down, people keep their cars longer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to work on their car because it's too expensive at a dealer. So they
Mhm.
might go to a mom and pop shop
Mhm.
instead. There is an argument for that. Now, I would say that you're right because there'll be more that pop up when the economy's good, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you're just going to diminish some of those. Some of those will get weeded out eventually. That's what's going to happen. But the interesting thing about that is that you're working probably longer hours than you would at a dealer, and you're probably not making as much as you would being a good tech, but you still are happier.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would imagine you could be happier.
But you'll probably make a higher percentage of door rate.
Mm.
Because
Mhm.
when I first
That's
started,
true.
door rate was like $80 an hour.
Right.
Now it's about 200
Right. You're making,
For luxury cars.
for luxury cars. Yeah. it's
Yeah.
about
Well, I
200
mean,
bucks an
even
hour.
for Ford, it's 150.
Yeah. So
Right.
So in my time, so it started at 80. Now we're almost 20 years later, and now it's 200. Your wages don't reflect that.
Right.
Because used to back in the
Mhm.
day, long time ago, a tech would make about 50% of door rate.
Right.
Back a long time ago. That's not really feasible anymore. But as a mom and pop come into play, if they're $100 an hour, you're making, because typically mom and pops pay pretty well for high-end people, $40-50 an hour. So you're making about half a door rate. That's not bad.
Right.
That's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true. And I went to an independent shop, worked there, and I made literally like $6 or $7 more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $6 more than I made at a dealer. I
Yeah.
was like, what the heck? An hour. I was like, dang,
Yep.
that's crazy. And it was because I was the only tech there, and he was the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he still had some issues with costs and stuff, but whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
that point is, you can make a lot of money with your mom and pops.
Yeah. But they can't find good help.
Mm-hmm.
They can't find good help that they can afford sometimes.
Right.
And they, do they make enough to support somebody like a master? And like I said before, where did the older guys go? Used to, older guys would trickle out to your mom and pops. That's where they went. Well, now you're not seeing that so much.
Yeah,
it's like they just disappear.
When I started, it was like the thing of if someone leaves, they're not going into the industry; they're going away from
Yeah,
it.
either they
Mhm.
get out completely or
Yeah.
they go to mom and
They're
pop
like,
and
I'm out.
they're out the pasture.
Right. Like Phil, right? He still works at Sewell.
Yeah.
And he hates it every single day. I don't even know why he does it because his wife makes money, but when I don't know when he's gonna leave. But when he leaves, he's done, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just like he's that example of a guy that just like stuck with it for some
Yeah.
reason. Now he's super old and bitter,
Well, I mean,
Sucks.
Look at the burnout rate.
Yeah.
How long
right.
can you actually do it before you burn out?
Right.
That's a big thing to discuss. Is what's the average time frame people leave our field? 3 to 5 years in,
Right. What is
roughly.
it? Yeah.
Because if you make it past 5, you're probably going to go 10 or right in there. So that's the question is why don't they make it to the 5-year mark? What happened? And I blame a lot of it is if you're not trained properly, you're not going to make it to the 5-year mark because
You're not gonna make money, dude.
and what do we know about the industry? What happens on the younger side? What do you do when you come in? You do oil changes. You're going to do new car
sure.
deliveries. You might do pre-owned things.
Mhm.
But what did you learn about actual customer cars coming in? What did you learn? You didn't learn anything.
Right.
So when you take the tit away
Yeah.
and you have to focus on what you know, what happens? Your paycheck comes
Yeah,
down.
you're down. You're like, oh crap, what
Yeah.
happened, right?
And one of the most detrimental things I've seen is when you take a PDI, like somebody in used car, new cars, PDIs, and he makes 100 hours of pay period. So in 10 days he makes 100 hours. That's awesome. Then he goes online at 3 to 5 years in, he makes 60 hours. What just happened?
Right.
You got that guy adjusted his lifestyle. He's making money. and now he's not making money.
Right.
And now he's online. He has to function off what he knows, and what happens? He doesn't know enough to get over the hump. The 5-year hump is where it is, and that's where it becomes a problem. Is how do you get him over the hump? You have to let the guy train.
Right.
Everybody doesn't understand that our field is just like plumbing or anything else. It's an apprenticeship. You do it for a year under somebody, so you know what you're doing.
Right.
You wouldn't hire a plumber that had a degree but never done the job, right?
Well, plumbers do it for longer than that.
Yeah.
As apprentices.
Yeah.
Electricians too,
Yeah,
man.
this is an apprenticeship.
And if we had it if it was a perfect world, we'd probably do it the same way in dealerships.
I just thought of something.
Go
This
3
is
or 4
totally
years,
this
dude.
is the totally like a Matt rant right here, but I'm listening to this American Revolution podcast, right? And it's
While you're doing this?
It's very I'm not
That
even
makes
here right now.
sense.
But it's just speaking of apprenticeships and how far they've come. Now you can learn a lot about the automotive industry in a year. Back in the 18th century, people were apprentices for 7 years to become a painter. That's well, the thing is that you had to make your own paint, so that was a big step. But a lot of that was because, and it kind of still ties in today, is that when you're an apprentice for 7 years, maybe you learn to do how to be a painter in 2 or 3 years, and like you're good. You sure said I can do this now in 2 or 3 years. But your apprenticeship is for 7 years. You're basically indentured to that apprenticeship for the cheap labor.
Yeah.
And the thing that comes down to it too is if you're paying someone 10, 12, 15 bucks an hour as opposed to 20 a flag hour, that hourly person is going to be way cheaper. So you want them to be training, quote unquote, for a lot longer. I feel like that would be more beneficial to a dealership. But
No, see, interesting.
He's
but
gonna say it.
unapplied labor is what they care about, and
Yep.
so that means that they're going to still pay somebody even if they're not doing anything. So they don't have to pay a guy that fails because he makes 60 hours in 2 weeks versus he would actually make 80 hours.
it's commission, so yeah.
Right. And even though it's like 20, it might even actually cancel out sometimes, but most of the time they'll say, okay, no, we definitely would pay way more money if you were hourly.
Yeah. Well, then again,
And they would end up paying more.
the apprentices,
Because-
the apprentices in the 18th century, if they didn't do their job, they got flogged. So that's kind of the.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't. There's a big.
Oh my
trade-off
gosh.
there.
Bring it back.
Well,
That's fine.
bring it
fine.
back.
That's fine.
Freaking, doesn't Germany still do that? Like, do like a 10-year apprenticeship on technicians or something like that? They have to learn how to weld and all this?
I don't know, but
they have to fabricate. They have to learn all this
If I
crap.
remember right, you have to be pretty highly educated to be a tech over there.
Yeah,
and,
it's insane,
you're
dude.
not.
Yeah.
And I don't
And
think,
they're hourly.
Basically,
Yeah, they're
gotta be
hourly.
an engineer.
Yep, they're
America
hourly.
is one of the only, they may be the only country that does flat rate.
And we had a different FRU measurement when
Right.
the E65 came out. We had a different FRU.
Mhm.
We were paid 8 FRU per hour.
So a FRU,
Instead of 10.
So a FRU is like
Yeah.
one part of an hour. So it'd be one FRU is like 0.01
It's a
or
flat rate
whatever, and it would just go up, and you'd say this many FRUs equals this many hours. That's what he's talking about when he says that.
Yep.
Sorry for all the lingo guys, but we're just into it, so whatever.
Yeah.
So what about let's talk about vaccines and COVID and your dealership shit, So like.
So
Are
why
you
is
guys-
Steve mad?
Because he's Steve?
We've talked about Steve before on the show. He's our local conspiracy theorist and funny guy, Steve, man.
Steve
He's
is
cool,
like
though.
Steve is the guy that's like wait until August, okay? Wait till August. Trump's gonna be
Well,
inaugurated.
you
in
sent me
August.
that video that was interesting. We'll talk about that in a second, though. I want to get to
Okay,
that. I want to talk
okay.
about it a little bit before we vet it, But the vaccine thing. So, are you guys gonna be forced? Do you think? What's gonna happen?
I don't know.
So
They're asking.
really?
They're asking if we have.
But has anyone cared? What's interesting to me is that whenever I worked at dealerships during COVID, it was like no one really gave a crap. I called in sick one day and came back and he's like, "What'd you have?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Stomach flu." He's like, "Okay, we're good."
Yeah, because I don't think
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I don't
what?
think you can legally
How
ask
times
you
have changed.
what you have.
No,
They can't
technically I
ask.
wasn't actually even sick and I just called in. But I'm just saying,
Truth
like,
comes out.
dude, it doesn't matter anymore.
Jeez.
But
What was his name?
God, you're gay.
his name was John. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
They're about to do the same thing to us, but we have so where I work is a family-owned dealership, which is very different than a corporate-owned dealership for many reasons. But our HR is ethos. It is kind of like we hired an HR department to do our HR for us. So we have to do a lot of the same junk that corporate dealerships have to do. And I haven't done the training yet, but we have a new training that's supposed to be like, if you haven't gotten the vaccine, you need to be wearing a mask at work. Which I'm not ever gonna wear a mask again. I'm just straight up, I'm not gonna do it. If they ask if I've gotten a vaccine, I'm either gonna be like no, and I'm not going to until maybe November because that's when I had COVID. I have antibodies. And they're
So
roughly
that's
for
why
a
you're
year.
not going to wear a mask, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolutely illogical for me to. So that's why I'm not going to. And another reason, if you don't want to get COVID, go get the free vaccine anywhere, literally anywhere. You can go get it anywhere for free. And then you're set. Then you don't have to worry about if Joe Schmo over there is coughing on your face and not wearing a mask. I mean,
Well,
as far as COVID goes, yeah.
to their to face value, you're correct. My problem with all of it is that the vaccine apparently doesn't do anything anyway.
Pfizer vaccine is reportedly after 6 months between 85% effective and 40% effective after 6 months. Something in that range.
See, that's what I'm saying.
And they were like, no, it's 95% effective. Yeah, for the first 6 months. And then it's like,
I don't necessarily want to get a vaccine for a sign on a door. Now, if the vaccine was like, heck yeah, we got you, 98% of efficacy or whatever the heck, and you knew it, and you're like, we're good. And I didn't have all these freaking stories. Well, the Delta variant now is getting everybody, whether you're vaccinated or not. And then in California, they're like, you still have to wear a mask even if you're vaccinated. It's like, bro, come on. There's just a lot of just controversy, lots of info coming from all directions. And so that's why it would surprise me. Dealerships, they're like, okay, a technician in the back of in the shop that has nothing to do with anybody. Going to be forced?
Already
As we know?
socially distant because our bays are literally more than 6 feet apart.
Yep.
Right. Now, you were saying before the show, the one good thing that's come from this is the stigma around calling in sick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get that old attitude.
It's
of,
changed, yeah.
Oh, man, just come in and tough it out. Like, no.
They're not like,
that's
yeah,
cool.
oh, you can't come in and work.
Yeah.
Like,
now it's become,
bro.
please stay home. Like,
Yeah.
oh, cool.
And you have less
This is
people
nice.
playing hooky because there's like,
you don't want to stay home for 2 weeks.
yeah,
You need money.
You don't have to
Exactly.
quarantine, yeah. So it's like,
Exactly.
okay, well, I'm going to choose my sick days very wisely.
Mhm.
Now, that's actually one thing I could say. Yeah, that's a good way to
It's a
do it.
Win-win right there.
Yeah. If they didn't have the whole COVID thing surrounding that, it was just because you were sick. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or if just people were honest,
Right. Well, yeah, that's never gonna happen, right?
I mean, we've seen it.
If it was like,
Yeah.
oh, you're calling in sick, okay, you have to be home for 5 days no matter what, and that was a rule, not because of COVID, not because
Yeah.
it just that was a rule.
No pay.
Right. Now COVID's like 14 days or some stupid crap, but
Mhm.
if it was like just literally just 5 days, that would still cause people to be like, I'm gonna question that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, dude, like the way our industry works, the y'all's industry now, I'm out of it. What?
Gave up.
Anyway, yeah, I gave
Gave
up.
up.
Yeah, anyway. To bigger and better things like this freaking podcast, Chris. Anyway, dude, okay.
Wow.
If I
Wow.
Not careful to say. Oh yeah, if I was gonna call in as a tech, dude, it wouldn't matter. Someone else would get my hours. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like it's not like
Yeah.
a thing of like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
my
Life
God, you're
goes on.
down one person. Meh. But like if you're in a restaurant and you're like strapped and you need people already,
Mhm.
and you're just always calling in, which honestly, a lot of people call in the restaurant industry.
yeah.
I've only been there like 2 months, and I'm like, what are you guys even doing?
Mhm.
How do you guys stay? And that's all they do. They don't have anything else going on. How do you have a living? How do you make a living off this? It's crazy to me, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane. I'm like, you guys are crazy. But I can imagine that being a problem. So at this
Yeah.
point, they're like, that's probably where it's helping them out the most.
Yeah. I mean-
oh, you're sick? Well, stay home. Ha! You're not gonna get paid. That's
Mhm.
what they're thinking. It's crazy, man.
I mean, but
It all just breeds this atmosphere of like getting a helping hand almost. It helps to me. It helps breed that atmosphere, in my opinion. I don't know how, but I feel like it ends up being if I'm the guy that's gonna just stay home, not do anything, and then Biden's gonna supplement my income, and next thing you know, it's not 14 days, it's 30, and here we are. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if that's literally how the steps went, but man,
I wish he would have supplemented my income. I
Here
would
we are.
gladly stay home. That's fine.
I don't think anyone could supplement your income.
No. I wish. I'd stay home. No problem.
I had the option. Well, the thing is,
They gave us option too.
they gave us the option.
Yeah.
They were like, look, if you want to go,
Yeah.
you'll go and you'll get the unemployment benefits. It's like a voluntary thing.
But we
Yeah.
had 2 or 3 people take it, I think.
I think, I think
Yeah.
at least one person
And
took
the
it.
thing was, they actually made money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
they
was
did,
hilarious.
yeah.
You're like, what?
Right.
How did that work?
Yeah, so when starting pay for a technician on BMWs is, equivalent or less than unemployment benefits right now.
Mm-hmm.
it depends. But then again, what the national average used to be for masters around 65,000 a year, something like that is where.
When?
This
2002.
This is a few years ago. So I don't
Like,
know.
come on, dude.
I
Let's
don't
be
know
honest
anymore.
here.
But with wages, we talked about before, wages have never been higher in our field. But employee retention's almost never been lower.
Yeah,
like,
and
that's
I think,
weird. It's like,
but
what's going on?
You're not think you have to account for hours changes too. Like I don't think it's all based on pay now. Like you can't say, okay, well the Masters guy made 65,000 in 2000 whatever 4 or whatever the hell it was, and now the Masters make 100,000 or whatever. Well, okay, but what if it just took longer to do the jobs now? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously oil changes never changed. Fine. But what about all the other stuff,
Well, if you never get better, you're never gonna make more, right?
You're right.
That's
but
part
I'm comparing two Masters guys, and so like if a Master now can make way more freaking hours because of either how much easier it is, or how their hours are all whack and they don't know what they're doing as far as calculations, then where are we at?
But we all got to remember,
because I feel like BMW used to be really really good at the way they track their hours.
I think.
Like the E65 was literally the first car that came out where everyone gets like everything was screwed.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is you're looking at different groups of people. 10 years ago, that group was probably going to run tighter numbers together, right? You're not going to have too many outliers. There's not going to be too many people low end or high end.
Right.
Nowadays, you're going to have a lot of outliers because you've added all these young guys who can't do as much. So now you're going to have some really, really low guys. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you're going to have some really, really high guys. Yeah. And nobody knows how to account for that.
Right.
And managers see you as on the high side, they don't like it because they know a younger guy could do that and they could save money.
Right.
So therein lies the issue. But you can't have one without the other.
Mm-hmm. And
that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
You need the mentorship of the older guys. Mm-hmm. That's what you're there for. You toe the line.
Right.
You also need the young guys. So we know this.
Right.
But if the young guys aren't trained and taught how the shop works, shop etiquette, how things go, and why, what are we doing? You're going to keep having turnover.
Right.
Because they just don't get it. And that's where it goes like we talked about before of, do you increase turnover on the 90-day program? Everybody's got 90 days probation. Do you go ahead and increase turnover and go, you know what? We have 90 days to figure out if you want to be here. And if we want you, and after that 90 days, maybe you don't want to work here. Maybe we need to find somebody who's a little bit better.
Yeah.
And utilize that a little bit more carefully. Of you know what, it's a missed opportunity, because most people can figure out within a very short amount of time if somebody's going to function well in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. But if you utilize that strategy of, you know what, we need to see if you're going to be here long. If we really think you want to be here, well, that's a big question. Do you want to be here? Is this a job?
Yeah.
Is it a career? Like I said, a lot of younger people look at it as, I'm going to be here 3 or 5 years. Okay, that's fine. But that's not going to give your employer, if they're interested, time to properly train you either.
True.
Right, or incentive to train you. Like
Yeah.
if you're only going to be here 3 years, why would I want to put 20, 30
Right.
grand into you when I'm only going to make 40 grand over this?
And that becomes the question is, how much of the change we've seen is based on profits and the types of people that our field attracts, and it always has, but there are less car type people out there than there ever was. A lot of the younger generation is not interested in vehicles.
Cars are disappearing.
Yeah.
Teslas aren't cars; they're computers on wheels. Man. They're not.
Yeah, and that's going to be the next step. They've
got brakes, and that's pretty much like the only car part that is in a Tesla, like the brakes.
And look
the
at
coolant system, I guess.
Yeah.
Liquid cooled computers.
Well, look where the fixed operation side comes in when you go to Tesla. So as electric cars come on board, you can get rid of a third of the car's information, a third of what they got.
Mm-hmm.
No gas engine, no fuel tank. You're eliminating half of your check engine type stuff.
Yeah, there's 90% less moving parts in a
it's all
Tesla
gone.
than there
You're
is
going to
in
get
a
rid of
Ford.
your maintenance on brakes. You're going to get rid of belts. They don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're going to get rid of so many things. It's like, well,
chains don't exist.
How many techs are you going to need to work on electric cars?
Right. That was going to be my second point of why I think dealerships are going out.
Yeah.
Not out, but mom and pop might be the one. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that dealership service side will probably go down tremendously.
There's going to be a
mom
big,
and pop
yeah.
might kick up.
I think you're right. I think
because used cars, obviously, we don't.
Yeah, they're going to hang in there.
We still have cars going around. They're early 2000s cars.
Yeah.
And people still have their car guys still have 90s, 80s, 70s cars. Like that's still going to be there. You're not going to. I don't think you're just going to get rid of that completely.
Yeah.
I actually think car culture is very similar to gun culture because they are very attached. That's what I'm trying to say. So gun culture.
For drive-bys? Is that what you're getting at?
No. When I say gun culture, I mean people that are into guns a lot. Like, yeah, Second Amendment, yeah, and they have their guns, they really like them, and they're into guns a lot. Well, cars, similar. Car guys, the car scene, they're very, very attached. They're very into it. If someone's trying to try to take that away, they're going to fight that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so if someone wants to come in, like Obama, who was like cash for cars, cash for clunkers or whatever, so they keep trying to do that, but force it more, and they're like, we're going to take all these cars. We need to get rid of all the bad emission cars. There's going to be some uproar, I think. So I don't think that'll happen anytime soon necessarily.
Well, I don't think
it'll take a while. 15,
the thing
20
is
years.
with a car enthusiast, like I don't think any of them were. I couldn't think of a single car enthusiast today that would be against something similar to cash for clunkers. I mean, when you think about it, that's like a win-win. It's like you're gonna take my old beater, and I get a tax break.
What? Yeah, but I'm not talking about old beaters. I'm talking about like.
But that's all.
That
it was a voluntary service. It wasn't like Australia's gun buyback.
Yeah. Whoa. I know. Okay. I know it was not forced at all, but I'm saying that they kept doing it and like made it forced. Like at some point it could become that.
If it was compulsory, then that would
like right.
Definitely be a game changer.
Right.
You take my Chevy out of my cold dead hands.
Right, but you have all these dads and sons like out here building these old cars and stuff, and then these like chodes out here with RX-7s. Like they all love their cars, bro. So
wow,
you know what I mean?
Let's just get the RX-7 crowd hating them.
Yeah, well, rotaries need to die. I'm
Whoa,
just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys.
Wow,
hating on the Winkle over here.
Wow.
I just wanted to cause some controversy. I actually really like rotaries, but they are a bitch to maintain. All right, that's all.
Ask any aircraft mechanic, because like most of those are rotary engines.
That's a different
cool.
type.
Wow, there you go.
That's a radial.
Yeah, radial. Yeah, it's
That's
not
the
a
same
rotary.
thing.
No, it's not a rotary. I wanted to
They're
correct you,
pistons
but I
in a
also
circle.
didn't really understand.
They also have rotary engines that are they have Winkle aircraft engines.
Do they?
Yeah, for sure.
You sure?
And they don't work.
The triangle gear.
The triangle.
We're all
Really?
on
The
the same
triangle.
page here.
The
Okay.
triangle
Yeah,
piston.
piston.
It's not
I think
really
you're
a
making it
piston.
up. Somebody fact check
it's
that.
a
I'm
piston
not buying
gear.
this.
He's over here. That's what he does.
Let me guess. The Germans did it? Is that what you're saying?
The Germans.
Right.
And they shared with the Italians? Those two team up. Watch out.
Yeah. And they turned on the Russians.
And then one of them changes sides halfway through. It's the strangest thing. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
It's
Yeah.
strange.
Yeah. Nick will be on mic next time. I just wanted to get that said real quick. Our fact checker.
Oh yeah.
Our fact checker.
We'll go
for the
through it.
listeners, bro. Podcast is under construction. I love it.
Bro. Wow.
I kind of want to talk about something like current. Let's move into some current
We're talking
events.
about electric
you want
cars.
to talk about no?
That is current.
That's not what I meant. I didn't mean that wasn't current. I meant current events. I should have said.
You don't want to keep talking about 18th century apprenticeship practices
and planes that
I
don't have rotary
concerns
engines.
that he knows that.
I'm just kidding.
Is that your college education coming out?
No, I was actually learning about that like today or yesterday.
Kind of show mama I
About
learned something.
apprenticeships that were. It's crazy.
How was your apprenticeship?
I had to work under this guy. How do you think it was?
Oh man,
You never touched it once.
my apprenticeship was for getting to put oil in a car and then having to do my own engine.
Oh god.
There's my apprenticeship, and then
Well, did you actually apprentice under someone at a shop?
I did, but it was.
You don't want to talk about it?
he was
Show me on
alright.
the bear where he touched you.
Oh my gosh.
All
dude.
of it.
Bro,
Oh, he
the
touched
thing
all
was
of it.
his name was Nick actually. Nick
Oh.
Tominelli, dude. He's a freaking badass dude, but the thing is that he was a normal tech. He was good at his job, don't get me
What does
wrong.
that mean?
But he
Explain
wasn't
normal.
He wasn't a team leader or anything, and they're like, "Here you go, train this guy." If I was him, like after being in the industry, if I was him, I would have been like, "You guys suck," and then been like, "Go change that oil." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. He wasn't a trainer. He wasn't supposed to be training.
Yeah.
And he didn't get paid for that. That's another problem, I think. A big problem.
Well,
there's no pay
that's true.
or incentive for a regular technician to train somebody. Now, I will say this. There are certain instances where I would want to train, like I would want to help them out. Every once in a while, they ask a question. I'll answer that question. Heck yeah! But when you have someone at your hip and you're like, train them, that's different. It's not the same thing. And so you need something better in place for that. I think.
Remember years ago, it was called tech assistance. So when you went online, you paid me. So if I trained you, you paid me $1 per hour. You flagged. You paid it back. I don't necessarily agree with that. That's kind of a screwy way. I forgot, they may have a different term, but you paid your trainer back.
Why didn't they just take it? Why don't they just not pay them that $1 and pay you that $1 instead?
Well,
that they would know.
Well, they
right?
would, but you knew going into it that you were going to pay that guy $1 back, and it's like, well, I get it, but that sounds kind of.
Why would they even tell you that? That's so weird to me. Yeah, you're going to pay $15 an hour, but you have to pay one of those dollars back to this guy. No, just $14 an hour. Okay,
and
cool.
Maybe they phrased it that way.
That's weird.
Hey, it's 15, but it's actually 16. And maybe they did. I don't know. I never saw it in practice, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
But the trade-off is I train you, you make money for me.
Right.
Okay, that's a pretty fair deal. But then you come into that weird time where you start being productive enough that you start asking questions about, why am I making this guy money? What is he doing? Why is he sitting over there? And, that's where they don't understand is there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that you're doing. It seems like you're doing nothing, but you're doing everything.
Right.
You're organizing, you're picking your parts, you make sure everything's lined up, all the ducks are in a row. It's funny how when you're a helper, you never stop moving, do you?
Right.
Like you never stop. Imagine that. How did that happen? And that's how you kind of pay for yourself that way. But on the other hand, when you go online, you're not helping me anymore. You need everything from that guy still. You still come back to that guy. Hey man, I need this and you're like, kind of got to take you off the tent at some point. You're gonna have to function on your own. What are we gonna do here?
Right.
And it starts going downhill. And then they start looking at you, going, well, how come you make that? How come you make this? And you're like, well, I've been doing it forever. It's experience, years of experience. But you get the new ducklings that start asking questions. And that 3 to 5 year mark is where it starts. That's where the relationship starts getting stressed. And
they all go into the Snap-on truck and get raped.
Yeah. Well, so let's look at it from the get-go. You want to be a tech right now. What's it cost? What's the cost to be a tech? Trade school's $30,000.
Okay, yeah, but you want to talk about like the
Plus,
on paper way to get
tech? Just on paper right now. What's it cost?
Like $42,000 is what UTI costs right now.
And you need what, $5,000 to start tool wise, roughly five
probably
to seven,
more than that.
roughly?
But yeah, I would say to start, yeah.
So you're closing in on 50, and you haven't even turned a wrench yet.
Right.
So you're sitting there looking at it going, okay, so what's the alternative? What if you got kids out of a tech school program at a high school level? They don't need to go to a trade school. So you pull them out. They come to you. Let's say right out of high school that first summer. They give you 3 months to figure out if you're going to make it. Okay, so let's look at that. So you're going to pay a guy for a summer job. You don't have to pay him a lot. Pay him $12 an hour until you figure out what it's worth. And then if you find the good ones, then you offer them an apprenticeship program. You figure out what we can do to keep these people.
Right.
That way they don't have to go to school and spend $30,000 on an education that almost means nothing. Because right now in the field, there's so many people needed. I don't think it matters on paper what it says.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I'm not even sure if they're asking for experience.
Right.
Current practice right now, when you sign up for your job, did you have to take an aptitude test or anything?
No.
Any dealer you ever worked at, did you take an aptitude test?
They didn't even ask for my transcript.
I think there's one.
I lied,
There's
by the
one.
way.
There's
You
one
guys didn't
dealer I know of that will make you take a. They make you take a. What you call it?
Stool does.
They will make you take aptitude.
Shit. I'm sorry, I didn't even answer the question.
Yeah,
right.
they'll make you take
I
aptitude
did.
and what's the other one? Personality test.
Personality.
Yeah.
It was okay. I gotta hold on before we go any further here. That was actually awesome. I have to say the way they did that.
So you're crazy.
So I didn't necessarily drink the Soul Kool-Aid, and the orientation was kind of like wow, over the top. Let's chill out, guys. Meeting Carl Soule and all this stuff, and you have to wear a suit because you get a headshot for a technician job. It's weird, but they do the aptitude test, which is pretty cool because you get to learn something about yourself that you didn't know, and it has nothing to do with technician or whatever. It has to do about life. And then you do the personality test, which is pretty cool because it's like a guy. I don't know what was it called. The guy that did it, the guy that created this personality test. It was called something.
I don't know.
It was his last name.
Never taken one.
And it was like the main dude. It was like the one every freaking person uses. like for like lawyer.
You have like a guy who can like look that up.
Not yet,
even
dude.
even Nick
We're
is like,
breaking him in, bro. We're
Breaking
breaking him in.
all he does is type it in, and he can figure it out for you.
Anyway, so the
Clearly
personality
at a loss.
test.
Whatever, dude.
Okay, so you failed the personality profile.
No, you don't fail it. You can't fail
You're
it.
disappointed in yourself.
You test
No,
the same
dude.
as a serial killer, then what?
It's the 4-letter one where they're like, you're a DEPA, whatever the hell personality.
Whoa, I don't know what you're spelling there.
Huh?
Myers-Briggs personality.
Myers-Briggs personality test.
Myers-Briggs.
Sorry, guys. Nick is not on the mic right now, but he just told me it's Myers-Briggs, and that's why we have him here.
You
So
should
you
have
know
taken
what?
credit for pulling it out of your ass. Like, yeah, I got this.
Oh,
That was
that's
all
what
me.
it was. Yeah, okay.
That was all me.
That's not how we do it here,
I found
bro.
out I was crazy.
We're team players, Chris. Okay?
I'm on my own team. I spell
Just
team
kidding, dude.
T-I-I-M. Team. That's how I spell it.
Tim Hilton? Anyway, so,
Oh my God.
dude, so
Damn, name dropping.
Myers-Briggs.
Hi, Tim.
He won't watch anyway, whatever. He's in a freaking
He will now.
Tim
Cabin.
sees everything.
cabin somewhere.
Tim wears diapers at work to shit to be more efficient.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen it.
So the Myers-Briggs personality test, and it was actually pretty cool.
I used to hang him
actually
upside down
appreciated
to
that.
recharge.
Okay, where were you going with that though? The personality test, aptitude
Well,
test.
I
You think we
mean-
should do that or not?
No, but look. So when I started, you almost 100% had to have a tech school diploma or something. You had to have something,
Right.
or they wouldn't even talk to you. I mean, that's how that. Now this was after September 11th and everything. So early 2002s, or that summer, roughly right in there somewhere. So the dealers could be more stringent. You had to have something in your hand, or they wouldn't even talk to you. And I've seen people come in that had experience.
Hold on,
they
was that
still wouldn't talk to
hold
you.
on? You said it was after September 11th. Was that because of September 11th? Is that what you're saying that caused
I
them to be
think-
more
no, I think because
stringent on
they didn't-
hiring you?
They didn't need as many people. The economy kind of went a little weird.
Okay,
so
so
we didn't
not
need as many
because-
people.
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
no.
got you.
Terrorists
Like,
had nothing to do
Where
with
I
it.
was like, wait, so they don't want you to? That's so weird.
They were
It's like
infiltrating our car dealerships.
Freaking
Yeah.
TSA
Yeah.
is standing there
No,
at
it
the
was
front.
just the
You
job
want to
market.
get a job here?
Yeah, the job market was a little different.
Take off your shoes, your belt, and no hoodies, please.
Dude, I worked. I
Hey,
came out
actually,
of
in the early 2000s, you didn't have to take off your shoes, okay?
No.
even
Shoe
after,
bomber,
even after September 11th, right?
Shoe bomber didn't
For a
happen
while.
yet.
Correct. Yeah.
yeah,
Freaking
Yeah.
Patriot Act pieces of shit.
I worked at a quick car.
All right.
I
You did?
graduated from tech school, couldn't get a job. I worked
Hmm.
at a quick car. Yeah, for like
And there
3
we
or
go,
4 months.
guys.
Yeah, I was a luber goober.
Luber goober. That's what they call it. Luber goober.
Yeah.
Well, see, I went to an independent shop for a while, Al Hafner Tuning. I actually worked there again later on in life, but at the beginning there, I worked there at 16, 17, 18, whatever, part time, and I was actually like the worst technician ever. But I started there, and then they were like, they didn't have that many. Screw you. They didn't have that many.
First step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. Hi, my name is Sky.
And I suck at
Before
working
we
on
go
cars.
any further, guys, I just
And
want to
I
make it very
suck
clear
dick
right
at
now
working
that
on
I was
cars.
actually pretty decent at working on cars. Okay.
Oh, I
Just
mean,
before
you
just wanna
can
set the
say it.
stage.
It doesn't make it
I
any
just
more
wanna set
true.
the stage for everybody, guys. I'm good at this. Okay. Anyway. Dude.
Wow.
So we, they
You're
made me
somebody. I acknowledge
they
that
did-
you're awesome. Okay. Does that help? Does it make it any more true? Do you think I believe it?
They didn't have. I'm gonna skip past all this. They didn't have as much work, so they like started making me stock stuff. I'm like, this is BS.
No.
dude. I'm
They
out.
had plenty of work.
No, they
just
didn't.
figured that's what you were better at.
Well, the technician that was main guy, the lead guy or whatever, was about
Yeah.
to leave because he's like, "There's no work here," and they're like, "We're making him stock or whatever, right?"
Hmm.
Call up this dealer. I actually emailed this dealer in Bellevue, Washington, and they called me back. And I hadn't even finished automotive tech school,
Yeah.
like at TJC, Tyler Junior College, at a college, and they were like, "Oh, we need you." I'm like, "What? When can you come for an interview?" I'm like, "Oh,
From Texas to
Bro.
freaking Washington?
yeah." Well, I emailed them because my brother lived there. Let's just see what happens,
Yeah.
That's where I started. I started in Bellevue, Washington.
It's crazy.
They actually did pretty well at training me, besides me, blowing up an engine and
I'm not
rebuilding
okay.
it. But
Right? They trained you well.
That's
Because
And then-
you're currently working where?
and then-
not on cars.
and then I went to Autobahn and got absolutely ruined.
How many?
Because I worked
Oh,
next to this
God.
guy.
Here we
I'm
go.
just kidding. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
fuck me. Here we go.
Audubon, I will say that dealership is, they treated salespeople way different than techs.
Oh, for sure.
'Cause I
dude.
was both.
I
was in
talked
sales
to,
and
yeah.
service and
There was a guy named David that was a service
Night
advisor,
and
right?
day.
David? Was his
Yeah.
name?
But
And
that,
he
but
went to be a
that's-
salesman
but
too.
That's
and
pretty
he
common
loved
practice
it.
in the automotive world. Salesmen
Mhm.
have all. The dealer exists to sell new cars.
You probably had steak
Yeah.
dinners every night. 'Cause you sold a car.
Still does.
You sold a car today? Here's a steak.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
so at when I was in sales at Audubon, they don't have this program anymore because it's under different. Well, the ownership it's complicated. It's a long story there. But back when I sold there, anytime the store, like the Volkswagen or BMW or whatever, I worked at Volkswagen. So that anytime that store hit a sales record, the sales department would get to go get an all expenses paid meal at Del Frisco's. And it was anything you wanted, any drink you wanted, bottomless.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so
people,
now exactly what I was saying.
everyone
Del Frisco's
left
is expensive, dude.
wasted. Oh, dude, the meals were
$400.
Oh no, it's
'Cause, like,
thousands.
For a person,
I've seen it, but
because like you get a bottle of wine and you get a steak and
it's a lot. But what we've always been told as techs, there's too many of us to do that, and that is somewhat
I mean,
correct.
that could make sense, right?
But there's no equal benefit to.
Oh no, there's not. No, you get no benefits like that being a tech, and that's where it becomes an issue. Is I've even seen where they get more money for lunch on a Saturday than the technicians do, and there's almost twice as many. So how do you explain why they're eating fajitas and you're eating fried chicken, or just or something just inexpensive? Chicken Express. I mean, just something.
Pizza.
Yeah, pizza. Pizza's a big one.
Yeah, we hit a sales record for service, like I think it was an hours record at Ford, and we each got like $100 bonus, which I would rather have than a free meal at the Frisco's, to be honest. That's cash money. But
let's get back to it. So when I came in the field, you had to have education. Now it's become full circle. Now it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter. Do you breathe? Okay, we'll hire you. That's what it's become.
Standards are way lower
They're
across
way
the
lower.
board.
Yeah, they're way lower. And what does that buy you? I don't know. You're gonna have to have a lot more people come in to figure out who's gonna make it. It's gonna take a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like that accounts for the same pay. You know what I mean? And it probably does. Like you have lower standards, so you have a lower quality person as far as ability.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, that gives us the excuse to not pay it, like not raise the pay like we would with inflation.
Yeah. Which is, we all understand. But let's go back to where do your technicians come from in a mom and pop scenario typically? Where do you get them from? They were a porter. They were a car wash guy who showed interest in being a tech. So you got them at a low rate. They were there a couple years, and then they go, oh, hey, I want to be in the back. Okay, let's do this. So now you already know a little bit about the guy. You give him a chance. They used to have a farm program, so to speak.
Right.
Nowadays, most dealers don't have a farm program. It's straight up, come on in, let's do this. No training, and that's all you get. It's like, well, how long is it going to last? Where's that headed?
Yeah, I mean,
How long did you train before you went online? Because everybody's going to vary a little bit. There's going to be some variability depending on dealers, depending on experience level, depends on how you act. There's variances.
It was like a year and a month, I think, or something like that.
Okay, how long did you train? Because you're on the tail end of all this actual training.
I would say under you, how long was it?
I think it was like 3 months. I don't know.
Probably 3 or 4 months, and then I trained with a foreman who. That wasn't even training. That was me just sitting around on my ass most of the time. And then when we moved over to Arlington.
Kenny? Foreman?
No, different one.
Oh.
Different one.
Different one, yeah.
Secondary foreman.
Way worse.
David? Oh, wow. Worse than that?
Yeah. And then I went to Arlington and was there for 6 weeks before I went online.
Yeah. I trained for about a year and a half.
So, all in all, I trained for about 6-7 months.
Yeah. I went to secondary training for 2.5 months. Unpaid.
I don't know, man. A year is definitely that's my thing. That's like a year should be it.
Yeah, my thing was
makes sense.
I started way later in life too. Like I became a tech at 27 years old. So by that time I was like had my own place, had my own long-term girlfriend who lived with me. I had lifestyle and commitment issues I had a sales career. So
what?
I had obligations. So
that's not where I thought that conversation.
I was just gonna say I had commitments that I had to stick to, and I had obligations and as far as bills and stuff. And I was like, I can't make $28,000 a year. I was in debt to my eyeballs by the end of my training.
Right.
And so I was like very, very hungry. Like I gotta. And then That's the whole reason I left BMWs, because I just was like, there's the increase in pay is too incremental and too slow. And so I went over to used cars, and problem solved.
That is the difference in a 19-year-old going in.
Yeah.
And a 27-year-old.
They're a lot more patient, even though they're 19.
They're almost like it's a very similar scenario. Going into BJ's, they're like, we're gonna put you in takeout. Obviously, this is not the same caliber. We're gonna put you in takeout. I'm like, I'm a 27-year-old dude, right? And this is my third job, and I'm like, okay, takeout, okay, that's whatever. Turns out everyone that's in takeout is like 18 and 19. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? This is so weird. And like, it was like a $10 an hour job, right? And I'm like, I came here to be a server. So what's going on here? I get there, and like literally a week and a half later, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing this. Walking to the manager's office, I'm like, guys, I'm 27. You guys know that, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I need to be a server. I'm not here to do takeout. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So the same scenario, like, you can't just, you get a little bit older, and as you get older, you're like, your priorities change. And at that point, you're not necessarily like, this is going to be my freaking lifelong career. You're like, no, I need this money to get me through to do my next thing or my other things. That's how I see it anyway. That's how I'm doing it. So
I found mid-20s, mid-25s or so, right in there, those people are easier to train because they have a little bit of life experience.
Right.
They know what's going on. They need to make money.
Yeah.
Those people are a little bit more easy to train than a youngster, because if a youngster lives at home, well, how motivated are you?
They don't have, there's like stress.
Unless you're exceptionally motivated on your own.
Right.
You don't need money.
Well, and then when I got into it, I'd moved out and gone to Washington, so I was on my own, and like I had been on my own before, and like I was 18, 19, I don't know, whatever. So I was already like stressed out, like I had to make freaking money, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. $13 an hour. I was like, man, this is insane. So I pushed them, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
It actually helped out, because like a year later, I'm actually on the line, and I was like doing really freaking good.
Yeah.
I made the most hours I ever made in Bellevue. From that point on, it just went down.
Yeah. Well, and the big question is, everybody underestimates how difficult the job is.
Right.
It is not what you think it is. When I first started, Fast and Furious was hot, so it's like, oh, we're gonna be doing this. No.
Everything's
in
being
cars,
all clean and nice.
Yeah, it's like, no.
And shiny,
Not at all,
and
dude.
we're gonna be working on cool cars. They're gonna go fast.
Especially not an Autobahn, bro. Clean.
Yeah, and that's why you see the young guys are like, oh, that's a neat car. Yeah. Go have fun, please.
Right, because you kind of get out. You lose that.
Yeah, you lose
and
it.
I hate that, dude. That's another reason I'm glad I'm out, because I want that. I like the cars. I like cars, I need to gain that back, dude.
I'm starting to understand why you left.
I need to gain that
you
back.
You like the cars too much, so you didn't make as much money.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Maybe it is, dude. But I was an advisor before I left. Let's not forget that.
Oh my God.
So
that's what ruined the business for you. Is you had to deal with customers.
It wasn't. I don't think it was necessarily the technician part of it. Like, the technician was fine. I was doing okay. I want to try something different. Let's try advising. Why not?
So how many kids on career day say they want to be a service writer? Or a parts guy?
They don't even know it exists, probably. Dude.
So what would you say about those other periphery departments? That's where technicians typically would end up if they couldn't be techs, right?
Oh my gosh,
so,
here we go. Teachers that can't teach gym. I get it.
But
dude.
who grows up wanting to be a writer?
Dude.
Nobody
does, dude. Nobody does.
Who grows up wanting to be a parts guy? Nobody.
Right.
So how do they get there? How do you explain those departments? Well,
what?
They fall into it,
It's true.
It's a little different. They just, that is what it is. People grow up wanting to be a tech, right? People don't grow up wanting to be a manager. They think they want to be one until they are one. It's like, no.
Right. My whole thing was I want to be a foreman, right? And I was like, let's do it. Let's go. Let's make that happen.
Well, okay.
But then I'm asking around. Let's make this happen. And they're like, no, you got 15 years plus. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not in it. Sorry, I'm not doing this.
So when you came in the field,
I'm not into it that long.
Your job was to take your boss's job, right?
Right.
That's how everybody was trained.
That's what
you're trained to do.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays, would you do that? I'm not going to be a foreman.
Well,
what am I going to do? No.
At dealerships where there's like, different positions before the foreman, maybe it's easier, maybe it's different.
Yeah.
But when they cut out everything and it's just a technician to foreman, it's
like nowadays,
whoa,
there's no team leads.
Right. You don't have any of that, right?
And here, this is real simple to go into. Your education on a mom and pop level is going to be better than a corporate level, because mom and pops will hold you a little bit more accountable.
Right.
You may have to go in front of a customer and talk to them directly.
Yeah, you did.
But that's how you get things done.
That.
That's how you learn. That's how you develop people skills to be a writer, to be a foreman.
Right.
The corporate approach is you stay in the back, and that's it. So you lose a lot of accountability.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain to somebody, hey man, I screwed up. You don't learn that skill.
Right.
So how can you ever move up? How can you be a
Well, see, and that's what I was thinking.
Get there.
Right, and that's what I was saying with the whole advisor thing. You know, like, okay, well now maybe I'll be able to move up because of this and that. No, not really. So.
Well, but we all know technicians typically are techs for a reason.
Right.
Maybe we're a little socially awkward. Maybe we're not the best people.
Yeah, normally, yeah.
And that's
yes.
typically what you're going to find in
Right.
our community is they're a different type of people.
Right.
Which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who can do it.
Right.
You know. And I always like to tell people, if you got a manager who's being a dick, you just tell them, can you do my job? Can you quit right now and come back here and do this? You can't, can you? Show a little respect. You know, if you can't physically do it, don't be an asshole to that guy.
Right.
That guy's making your paycheck. And that's a big thing right now. Managers don't understand where their paycheck comes from. They've forgotten. You don't just show up and go, hey, this is my paycheck. No. It was generated by someone else.
Right.
Because you're a manager.
Right.
How is your paycheck generated? Oh, all those guys busting their ass. Oh, okay. So maybe we should be a little nicer to these guys and show them a little bit more respect. How many times have you heard a derogatory comment about you being a grease monkey? We've heard it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Constantly,
You've seen it.
Right? Yeah. It happens all the
Women
time.
sometimes say things.
Dude, you know how hard it is to
Yeah.
get a date and like say, yeah, I'm a BMW tech.
Yeah.
They automatically they're like, oh, you're a mechanic.
And everything changed when
Uh-huh.
you're a
You're
rider,
like-
right? You're like, oh, panties were flying through the air.
Bro, I won't say panties were flying through the air,
Dude,
but
panties.
I will say
Yeah.
it was definitely easier to talk to women and it'd be okay because like
Yeah.
you're already dressed up.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Yeah.
you're
You're
just
dressed up, that's
But
why.
the thing
Exactly.
is,
That's why.
People look past you.
no.
When you
no.
wear a blue shirt,
Here's
the blue
what.
shirt.
Right.
No, here's what happens specifically with
There
you
Sky.
go.
Sky dressed like a gay dude, and that's
Wow.
what immediately made all the women just drop their defense. Oh, he's gay. It's cool. It's
How
whatever.
does he dress like a gay guy? What
A
damn.
bow
yeah,
tie.
what could possibly be it?
What's
huh?
wrong wearing a
Tell
bow
me now.
tie?
Bow tie.
Bro, first of all,
Good
you're
God,
wrong,
man.
and I
So-
like bow ties, okay?
So now-
bow ties freaking look fly as fuck, bro.
Okay.
So what's wrong wearing a bow tie?
Settle down there, queer.
Pee Wee Herman wore a bow tie.
Bro.
And what did he go to jail for again? Was
He
it whacking
jerked
off on a public theater?
No, I believe he jerked off.
Why did you use that example, dude?
Check.
You're literally
No,
ruining my argument.
He jerked off in a public adult theater.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
We've all been there, right?
There were no kids. It was for an adult.
Sorry, no kids.
I mean, what's wrong? I mean, come on now.
And these are the generational differences we fight today.
I was telling somebody
Just-
about that, and they were like, "What else do people expect you to do in there? Like just sit there like this and just go, oh, look at this porno."
Exactly. If you weren't jerking off in there, I'm gonna have questions.
Wow, what a cinematic
Like, wow,
experience.
what are you doing? What are you doing, bro?
Interesting cinematography.
yes,
I would have
yes.
gone a different route. The lighting was a little bit off. Yes.
The poses are nice. You know, like you're just thinking, like, what the heck are they doing?
Yeah,
That's
but-
true.
But,
That's a good point.
But really, an
But
example.
also, bow ties are cool, so stop.
No,
I mean,
no,
if you
I
say
mean,
so.
You see how
Bow ties
this
are cool.
tangent went from bow ties to like adult theaters, like. And then it's just the vibe that bow ties bring. You're either like a
What the-
weird,
What?
you're a
If-
weird
you know,
pedophile, or
if-
you're like
If
gay,
sucking dick makes
or-
you happy, I don't care. Be happy.
You know what? This is it. I'm polling the
It's
audience.
fine.
Audience, please let us know
You're
what you
gonna
think about.
poll them, okay?
Think about what you.
Is it coming? Jesus.
Maybe the audience could
Think
pull
about-
us, huh?
Wow. They don't. Yeah.
Think about this, guys.
Two are better than one.
Bow ties, yes or no? Please just email us, comment on us, whatever. Just message us. Let me know what you think. I just want to know what you think,
Yeah,
guys. I just
please.
wanna-
Like you're gonna change.
Like you're gonna change. Yeah, whatever.
So,
Whatever.
But it really an example. We used to go to lunch. We used to have blue shirts. They were all blue collar, everything.
Mm-hmm.
People look right through you. Like women at restaurants,
That's true.
dude, it's bad.
Oh,
Like
no, it's crazy.
It's bad.
It's insane.
And you'll go sit down and you're looking at all yuppie types. They're wearing khakis. They're wearing polo shirts, and they're all like mid-level guys.
Frat guys that are mid-level, yeah.
They're making
Average
what?
frat guys.
They're making what? 45, 60 a year.
Mhm.
Generalizing,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Mhm.
And he's sitting there laughing, going, "You have no idea what we make."
And that, see,
You
I,
have no
I
clue.
found that out firsthand by having all engineer friends, right?
Uh-huh.
A lot of, like the guy at this house, this house we're in, he's an engineer. And when he first started, you know, it was around, I guess, 60, 70 or whatever, and that was like what I was making then. And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
this is it, you know. And it's funny to me. I was like, man,
Well,
but
they don't know.
they don't know.
They don't know.
that. No.
Your average master is probably making 6 figures usually. If not, then and it's like, dude, it's embarrassing. People just look right through you, and it's so sad.
Yeah.
How many times a chick talked? Oh, you work on cars? Ew.
Right.
Ew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I won't name names, but I have gone out with a certain somebody that we know that used to work with us, and
Oh wow, this is juicy.
he would meet chicks and I'd blow up the conversation. He didn't like it, but
Oh my gosh.
it is what it is. But
That's funny.
it's just funny how people have a stigma about
Yeah.
grease monkeys, and even your management will have stigma about grease monkeys. They don't listen to what you have to say.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you work in the back.
Mhm.
Wait a minute. Yeah, so what? This is we work in a very interesting field. You can make more than your boss. Still, to this day, you can make more than the person in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your manager will hate you for it.
Yeah.
And they will. I've seen it. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
But what do
that's-
you do?
Right. And have you ever thought about like starting your own place? Like, do you want to? Like, what do you?
Man, it's difficult because
I know you don't make a lot of money necessarily from it.
See,
but
and that becomes a problem. Well, here's the biggest issue. I can't do it all. You got to hire somebody.
Yeah.
Who you gonna hire? I don't know anybody that I can stop and afford. And I know someone who has their own shop, and he can't afford someone like me. So
Right.
what do you do? So you look for a mid-level guy, somebody that didn't really have their shit together. I mean,
Right.
used to, you had older guys getting out that would go do that. And I knew several of them that would do that. They were okay making decent hours, and they had a high wage,
Right.
and that's fine. But nowadays, I don't know. You look at the liability. You gotta have insurance. You're gonna have
Benefits.
overhead. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna, and for the most part, you're gonna be doing it by yourself. For how long? That sucks.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be the parts guy. You're gonna be the service writer.
No, I know it's.
You're gonna be the tech, and it's like, man, that's 3 different roles. Oof.
Right.
I mean, working with cars is fine, but how do you do it by yourself?
Yes.
And then you get your name out there. Well, now you got to have insurance in case you get sued, in case something goes wrong. You got to deal with a bitchy client. There's a lot more to it. It sounds appealing,
Mm-hmm.
but is it?
Right.
Let's talk about side work. That's a different category.
Yeah, I mean that's like the name of the game, honestly.
It's the gray area.
Yeah, that's the gray.
The legal gray
You're
area.
not supposed to do it, but people do in our field.
Yeah, I mean
It's like
it happens all
moonlighting.
the time, dude.
Yeah, it'd be
I
like,
don't understand.
It'd be like a plumber, and you work for a company, and you go moonlight on the side and fix somebody's plumbing for cash. It's not. It's frowned upon. You're not supposed to do it. I
And
think
it's illegal if you don't pay your taxes on that
I would
income.
say most likely every technician has participated. Well, yeah, you're tax.
Yeah, of course, dude. But
I'm just saying, if you make 20 grand a year doing side work, which some people do,
yeah,
Yes,
for sure.
Yes,
and you don't pay a dime in taxes, that's tax evasion.
that's right. And I've seen.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
I have
That can add up pretty quick.
personally seen in a shop side work that was scheduled in and trainees doing said side work.
Oh yeah.
So you want to talk about very screwy,
Uh-huh.
and it was almost condoned. It was okay. It was like,
Yeah.
do what? I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's a strange. You were like, so wait a minute. That guy's getting paid by the company. He's working on that car, and you got the cash.
Or it's like just
How did that happen?
just
Well,
come
from a
in,
guy-
schedule an oil change, and I'll do all this other work in
Exactly.
your car,
Right.
and it's done
Yep.
under an
I'm
oil
gonna be
change.
straight up, dude. Some of the customers I had, I would like do side work for them
Yeah. No.
as an advisor.
No, I look at it as, okay, so let's say
Sorry.
let's say you brought your car in,
You know.
and you got stuff you want us to look at. Well, if you buy, let's say you buy $5,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
At what point is it okay to do a small,
Something else
small
small,
job
right,
for
exactly.
some cash? I mean,
And I would do this. What
you
I
know,
would
it's
do
not
is like
right, but
I would never advocate to do it myself because honestly I really didn't want to. But like if it's like at the end of the day they're like no, they can't do anything and they're about to go to some freaking piece of crap. I'm like okay, let me figure some stuff out here.
yeah,
Because I want to help you out first of all, but also I want to make some money, right? So it's like
Mhm.
it actually ends up being okay because I get to replace this stupid thermostat for cheap,
Yeah.
and they don't have to go somewhere and get it effed,
At-
ruined.
At
You know
what
what I mean?
point is
So
it
like,
customer
okay, cool,
service?
whatever.
That's the question to ask yourself.
I mean,
At
yeah.
what point is it being a customer service aspect of
Right.
it?
Mhm.
I want to make sure this guy comes back to me.
Well, and then right before I left, I sold
Right,
that
loyalty.
same person a new
Yeah,
car.
and that-
So it's like
yeah.
okay, we're good. That actually did pay off, but that's the only instance I know of
Yeah.
that actually paid off.
Yeah, and I mean,
Rest of it,
you're not supposed to do it.
Yeah.
It happens. It
Right,
happens.
and I would say, yeah, I don't know, man. It's gotten really expensive. It just keeps getting more and more expensive, and nothing else changes as far as pay or anybody else's. Like, Does it make sense? Like you said when we first started, the margins are just like 220, 230, 240 an hour, and then here we are. Everyone else took us paid exactly the same. How?
So we know. Okay.
Advisors too. Holy crap, their pay is ridiculous, dude.
Ridiculous bad or ridiculous
bad,
good?
dude. Just like, why is it paid like this? I don't understand.
From my experience
at all.
with writers, used to about 10 years ago, you could make six figures fairly easily if you were just slightly above average.
Right.
You could do that, and your top guys they may be making $120, $130. Nowadays, everybody gets a hold of the number, starts chopping it. So now you got those same guys that are making about 100, but they're doing the work that would support 140.
Right.
They've whacked the pay.
Right.
So you wonder why we can't find. So let's look at right now. How many writers that you know of that you worked with that are from the car world? Where do they come from? Most of the ones that I'm familiar with are not from the car world.
Right.
There's an overwhelming majority. They're not from the car world.
Even salesmen. Most of the salesmen I work with, they're like, I don't even know what you're doing. They don't even know what brand car it is. Literally, half the time, they're like, oh, that's a Kia. Oh, I thought it was a Hyundai. Like,
Sewell would only hire bachelor degree people for their advisor positions only.
Why do you think that is?
Because they wanted someone that was going to stick it out. That's why I think.
I look at it as I always thought for one reason. It's to negate asking you how old you are. That's what I always figured. Because they know if you're over a certain age, you're going to be a little bit more well put together. You're
mature.
You're going to be more mature. And that was always my theory. That was their way to get around the age thing.
Really? But is an age thing even a thing? I thought you could ask somebody what their age is.
Age discrimination.
But you can't ask it. And you can't deny somebody employment based on age.
Right.
I always thought.
No, it's age discrimination.
I know, dude, but we have so much more going on right now.
But it's also a way to.
It's not even.
Dude, you're telling me.
Yeah, but it's easier to insure you on their like car policy.
Like if you're over 21.
But I have to tell you I'm white.
Whoa.
Right?
Whoa, can you say that?
Like, do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure you can say that.
What? Yeah, I can.
Okay.
This is the Toasty Podcast. We said what we want to.
Employment application?
Yeah, on an application, I still have to tell them what ethnicity I am, right? And it's like, why are we...
Do you, though?
Yes, dude. Yes.
What? I've never applied for a job where I disclose my race.
Did you say other?
No.
I never see that
box
under the desk.
I was going to say, I've never
seen that
I never saw a box where it said what race or ethnicity are you.
I don't remember.
After you get hired, maybe, and you're going through the HR process.
Well, then they can just look at you and go,
that's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I don't know.
For new hires,
maybe
for sure.
so, but I thought there was. Yeah, I could have sworn, but no, maybe not.
I don't know.
Because
I'm not sure.
You can't not be hired for any. The thing is,
I know you can't, dude. I know that. I know.
They can't
ask
it. They can't ask it.
Okay.
Because then
that was always my theory, though, is that they were trying to
weed out the age thing.
Yeah, because that may not be
I thought it was just determination, and like they know you went all the way and got a bachelor's degree, then you can focus.
And maybe that was part of it too, that they wanted somebody with their shit together. And that could be.
Right.
But what does a bachelor's degree have to do with our field? There's not a degree in our field.
Exactly.
So what does it really have to do?
No,
Can you math?
What I was gonna say is they actually literally just got rid of that. They literally last month decided we need advisors.
Yeah, when they get desperate, they loosen the rules.
Right.
And that's the thing is, wait a minute.
But I'll tell you this: since they do that, they also can offer you a better, like, paid position, if that makes sense. So when you become an advisor, it was $60,000 immediately, year guarantee. So you're going to be on a guarantee for a whole year, training pretty much, and you're going to make $60,000.
Oh, it's funny. They'll pay for training for that, but not in the back end.
So and the technicians, I'm not sure. Yeah,
Any idea on their training protocol now?
I didn't get a long guarantee, but I also told them you don't have to make it long. I'll just be okay. Yeah. Their warranty was screwy. That's the reason I left, but whatever.
Yeah. As of right now, I think training protocol is.
The sales is the same way. They literally guarantee their salesmen for like a year. It's insane, dude.
Does?
Yeah, it's insane.
Oh, wow.
I don't
they're
know.
like they're coming. They love A&M guys. They love freaking all these guys that have bachelor, of course, right? A&M. Yeah. Anyway.
I don't know.
But.
I laugh.
But that's why I looked at him. I just wanted to see what he would say. He didn't say anything.
How's that degree working out for you?
He didn't say anything.
Does it help you fix cars?
Okay, hold on a second, bro. Before we brag on his freaking degree, look at him right now, bro. If we were talking about actual current events and politics, it would be perfect. But we're not. We're talking about dealerships, car industry.
Hey, we talked about 18th century apprenticeships. I got my fix in.
That's
okay.
true.
I laugh at his degree. It makes me laugh.
Well, to be honest, normally you're right, but the fact of the matter is that specific degree is how much you put in. You get what you put in. You get what you put in. That's what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I could have gone.
Is that helping you fix cars?
I could have gone into that field and made less than what I'm making now.
Oh, see,
but I didn't want to do that.
And that.
I would not have.
That's why I laugh.
And I would not have enjoyed my job at all.
Not at all, bro.
Yeah.
I would
But
be
you have to be
miserable if I
real-
was involved in politics, like immersed in it 24 hours a day.
But you don't go. But you don't go to be in politics to be a freaking assistant or a staffer. You go to politics to be a freaking president.
Be the
Like you know what I'm
man.
saying? Not really president, but you know what I'm saying. Like you go to move up. You go to get into some crazy
people,
stuff.
no, some people. There's people that aren't quite as ambitious that really just care about policy. I met a lot of people that just care about
Really?
policy. Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Oh for sure. Yeah.
They
yeah,
would
yeah.
make 30 grand a
It's-
year for that.
Well,
Or
that-
less than
yeah.
that.
Well,
Well,
the
let's
thing
get to
is,
that,
the
yeah.
thing is, like you're traveling, you're meeting people, your life is different, okay?
You could probably that's a good point.
But I'm not a people person, so I don't
That's
I don't
also
care
a good
about
point.
meeting people.
You please a lot of people.
So it's like I met people that volunteered or did internships with like USAID, like over in Senegal and Africa and stuff, and we're all over the place in DC, Africa, Texas, wherever. And yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of opportunities in that, but you're not making any money, and
Holy crap, dude.
it's not I don't know, it's not really a lifestyle that I was like
So
super enthusiastic about. I like cars a lot more than people.
I
So.
want to discuss this. This is going to be fun. So your college degree cost about what? If you had to guess.
Probably around 120.
And in your field, you would make what?
In my
To
field,
start. And then you would. What do you think you top out at?
oh, top out. There's no ceiling at all.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Okay.
if I could go and be a lobbyist and make $20 million
Gotcha.
a year if I wanted to.
Realistically, what?
If I was willing to
What do
sell my soul.
you think you fall into realistically?
At this point,
First 10 years.
first 10 years, I'd probably end up making between 80 and 100, depending on that's the thing is if I work for a city
Mm-hmm.
or any government, I'd be making 2/3 of what I'd be making in the private sector.
Yep.
But I'd also have to be really good at what I do to be in the private sector.
Yeah.
Now, anybody can go work for the city. It's pretty much working for the government is a lot easier than working for a private corporation or
Mhm.
company.
And
So
when you were both were in high school, what were you told?
you have to go to college.
What were you told?
Yeah, oh,
there
yeah,
was
for
no
I was told
alternative.
the same thing.
Yeah, dude, no doubt. I
What-
think
that
that's
was
a
a
big
lie.
deal. It's a
What
big
do we
problem.
know about that?
It's a huge lie.
Yes.
So we've had an episode previously where we
Yes.
talked about college
The value
being
of
not worth it.
education.
Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
value of it's not worth it anymore, and it's getting
It-
worse and worse. As
Yeah,
it goes
it's
on.
not. How do you have $100,000 in debt, but you only make $45 a year?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to pay it off, but you signed up to make $45,000 a year. That's not much. What are
Yeah.
we doing here? And that's where I think that's where everybody screwed up. That's why so many blue collar jobs are in need right now.
Mm-hmm.
Welders, plumbers,
So-
techs, all that stuff.
I just found a meme. Now that we're back on the white collar, blue collar thing, I found this.
Mm.
I saw this meme that I
Here we
saw
go.
it weeks ago, and I just like refound it. It's really funny. So here's Jim. Jim has a bachelor's degree in philosophy, has $100,000 in student debt, can't find a philosopher job, and believes people without college degrees are stupid.
Mm.
Then there's Joe. Joe had a 4-year paid apprenticeship, no student debt, earns $80,000 a year, and disconnected Jim's electricity for non-payment.
Ah,
I'm like, that's a
Yeah.
good like little breakdown of who's really in charge when it comes down to it. I mean, if shit hit the fan, those white collar dudes can sit there at their computer, which was just hit by an EMP, and go, what the hell? It's all black. But
Yeah.
the blue collar guy is out there like, oh, I guess I'm gonna go start my farm. And
When it comes to an actual fallout
that.
situation like that, yes,
Or-
skilled laborers will have
or
a
even
upper
like
hand.
or
Skilled
even
labor.
yeah.
have a
skilled
upper
labor
hand.
never goes up. You always need skilled labor.
Right,
No
and
matter what it
also
is.
you can
Yep.
learn something. Honestly, what tends to happen with these types of people that are good with their hands, they can learn something else.
Yeah,
They
and
have to.
they're good
Yeah,
problem
hands.
and they're good problem solvers.
Yep.
Boom. Because if cars are useless, then I'll need something else. Okay, fine. Learn how to do a farm. Boom, done. Like you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we can do that. We can do that
Yep.
for sure. I agree with that.
Yep, and that's what, and coming up in high school, that's what you're always told. Got to go to college. Got to go. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't really want to go to college. Doesn't really sound interesting. But let's not beat around the bush. It's not like our starting industry. It's cheap. It's not cheap. Even
Mhm.
if you take out let's take tech school out. Take that out of the question. You still need tools. It's gonna be kind of expensive.
Mhm.
It's not $100,000 expensive. Maybe
Mhm.
when by the time you retire, possibly you might exceed that.
But
if you
you're
work on
getting-
different lines.
That's like 30 years
I think
too.
the difference
Yeah.
is though that you're usually getting paid at that point in order to buy those tools.
Exactly.
It's not the same
Exactly.
as like that upfront cost, bro. Like
Yeah.
going to college is almost like starting a business now. The capital you have to have.
It is. And the
It's
thing
insane,
is,
dude.
with
I would rather start a business.
federally subsidized and federally guaranteed loans, they're just like giving loans to anybody. It doesn't matter. Give Joe over here a loan for his philosophy
Right.
degree, and then
Have you ever heard of a professional student?
But
Have you ever heard of that?
is that mom and dad paying for
No,
it?
no. Professional students. So they're the ones that will go to school for like 10 years straight or more than that, and they
Van
will literally
Wilder?
do it on. They'll literally do it on. Is it a person?
Van Wilder. It's Ryan Reynolds' like first movie.
Yeah.
He was in college for like 7 or 8 years, and was just like,
Well,
I'm just gonna be in college.
Which I
forever.
Maybe so, but you
believe-
do federal grants and everything else, and you do it. You work the system,
Yeah.
and you get to literally just live and have a nice lifestyle and be a college kid. Who cares, just living it up. I'm like, dang, dude, I kind of like want to do that. I'm not going to, guys. I'm just saying that it makes it look lavish because of all these freaking federal
You
grants
could, but
that
you-
literally are forgivable.
At
And then
the-
at the end of the day, you may owe some student loans, but a lot of them, I don't know. I feel like a lot of them you can get out of somehow.
No, student
Mm-mm.
loan debt. No, not
At
if
all?
it's not. Yeah. No.
Oh, yeah, 'cause
even if you
that's
declare
the-
bankruptcy.
it's
It
the
stays with
same-
you.
yeah,
It
it's the
stays with
same
you, dude.
debt.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
stays
own it.
with
Stays
you no matter what.
Now
It
you can
sucks.
you defer payments for a few years,
Yep.
but then when those
Interesting.
payments are due, it's like, oh, I was accruing interest the whole time.
Yep.
Right, you're
Uh
screwed.
oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they will F you. And the thing is, like I said, they're
Loans
giving
out to
away
anyone.
loans out like candy.
No
So,
vetting process, no asking questions.
lot of-
They don't even know how to they don't even have to know how a loan
Yeah,
works.
and it's like
Yep.
the person getting a medical degree who's actually going to make the money to pay back the loan is paying the same interest and getting the same loan as the guy that's getting a philosophy degree and never going to use that degree and never going to amount to
Yep.
anything.
right.
So it's like
Yeah, and that's a big question.
the risk is way different, but the loan is the exact same.
So that goes back to us
That's a
saying
huge-
you need to use college if you're actually going to college right now. Use it to your advantage to learn or to get to know people.
network.
that are in a
Network
trade.
as much as
Yeah.
possible, or go into a trade. Yeah.
No, they need to learn somebody. They need to meet somebody in a trade and stick
There you
with
go.
them.
Well,
Yeah.
just like, because you need to use it to your advantage, and that
Mhm.
classroom, honestly, is not going to be your advantage.
It can be.
Have you guys?
It
have you-
depends.
so going on to something different. Have you guys
Oh,
ever
okay.
looked into like how much the vaccine has made for the companies creating them?
Oh, I'm sure a lot.
You drink a lot of water, bro. It's not a bad
Yeah,
thing.
that whole
I'm just
pitcher.
like, dang, dude.
I drink
Nice.
water when I'm horny.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. That means I'm
They
hot.
said there's a cute guy wearing a bow tie.
Means
around
I'm
here
hot,
somewhere.
bro.
I'm trying to find him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if I
He's
can find him.
aloof. Anyway, okay.
Yeah, that's what's in his butt. Aloof up.
Oh my gosh.
We're
Shop
having
talk,
fun.
guys.
We're
Shop
having
talk.
fun.
This
So,
is
have you guys looked
mild.
into how much they've made though? For
I'm sure
real?
a
Billions
These
and
guys have made.
billions
So
of
they're giving the
dollars.
vaccines out for free, right? And you're like, whoa, where's the money
Who
coming from?
paid for that?
Right,
We
right.
did.
Okay, here it is.
College paid for it.
This is
They made
the
it
Johnson and
Student loan
Johnson
debt.
I like their name.
quarter, and Johnson and Johnson, by mind you guys, is the one
That the one you into?
is the ones that are the ones that had to cancel their vaccine like twice because
They got
were-
canceled.
No, they didn't cancel
not
it.
cancel it, but like
You got pulled.
just
It
pull
got
for a
pulled
while.
because
Yeah.
like 6 people
So you're telling me-
had,
so they
had,
pulled a
blood clots,
Johnson.
right?
had high
That's what
blood
you're saying?
pressure from blood clots.
Right. 6 people. But what, I'm
Out
not
of
gonna
the,
get. We're
out
not
of
gonna
the
get into that.
millions that took it.
Okay, compared to the Pfizer and AstraZeneca and Moderna, that they didn't have to pull back any of their vaccines. Fine, but I got the forecast from Johnson and Johnson. It's from their company. What is it called? Like the quarter earnings call.
So wait, real quick, they probably made the least amount.
Exactly. That's
J&J?
what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that they probably made the least amount.
Mhm.
Now here we go. J&J forecasted $2.5 billion in 2021 from COVID-19 vaccine sales.
Right on. Where does the money come from?
The federal government.
Ooh. We just print it.
Those
That's
tr-
what, that's what I'm talking about.
those
print it out.
trillions and trillions of dollars that were for COVID relief. A lot of that
Right.
was to pay for the vaccine.
You mean
So you
Trump
got-
bucks?
yeah,
Trump
Trump
bucks.
bucks.
Trump
So
bucks.
you've got 4 companies right now on this vaccine, and the one that I would think would make the least is at 2.5 billion, bro.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
insane,
for
dude.
that's for 1 quarter.
That is for that's for 2021.
Okay.
Their earnings call was
That's
for
what
the
they
last
think.
quarter, so they talked about 2021.
Damn.
Now, is that from the vaccine or is that just their total earnings?
That's
It says
probably-
2.5 billion in 2021 COVID-19 vaccine sales.
For-
Oh.
COVID-19
That's just one thing.
Vaccine sales
Oh.
only,
Man.
not
Did-
the rest of their
Did
stuff.
they make the magic blue pill?
What magic blue pill? Viagra?
That one's always up.
Oh my gosh, bro. Actually, it's not up anymore, by the way. There's a generic version of it. And
Hey, you heard it here first, everybody. He's no longer
Viagra
up.
has been Viagra has actually been it's
Down?
not patented anymore. No.
Yeah, the patent.
Oh, it
patent's-
ran out.
patent
So
ran out,
that's, now it's generic. We can all afford it.
You can afford it.
Where do I get it?
I don't have. I'm 27, bro.
What do you know?
Oh.
You ever banged a fat chick? Sometimes you need a little help.
Oh my gosh, dude.
This guy's like, no, I don't bang fat chicks, I bang fat dudes.
Oh, I'm sorry, you can't say that anymore.
Yeah, remember
They're
I
not
wear
fat.
I
They're
wear a
just
bow tie. Remember that?
not as thin as.
Just kidding.
you put the bow tie on, dude, not me.
I like the bow tie.
They look good, dude.
What's wrong with the bow tie?
You guys both. Whatever.
So let me get y'all's opinion on this
Oh,
to
God.
totally change subjects 100%.
There you go.
Will Smith's daughter, Willow Smith, just came out as polyamorous.
Okay.
What does polyamorous mean?
Okay, look up the definition for polyamory.
Yeah.
That means, I believe it means that
Nick is on the case.
She is. You can have multiple people in a family. You could be like you'd be a throuple.
Hey, put the mic
That's
closer
like
to your mouth.
that's like polygamy though.
Polyamory,
Yeah, there you go.
polygamy.
So
I believe they're
polygamy
linked.
is where you can marry multiple people. I know that.
Yeah,
But
you have to look it up to get the actual
polyamory is
definition.
basically the same thing.
Polyamorous is relationships.
Relationships. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can be in more than one.
More than one relationship.
You could be with two
so
men,
an
two
open
women.
relationship.
So you're saying there's a
Space.
chance.
times 5
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Coming in now, I know.
So that's
like, this is my
Willow
home turf.
Smith. You said.
Yeah. So it's like basically you're coming out as you like open relationships.
But you know what I think? I think that a lot of celebrity. Yeah, you like open relationships.
You're not
whatever.
hung up on the social norms.
I think that. Interesting.
That just blew your
way.
mind.
No, interesting way to phrase
This is
that.
my home turf.
Yeah. Exactly.
This is my home turf. I know these things.
Anyway,
Don't ask
dude,
how.
So,
Yes, it's that big. No, you can't touch it.
golly, dude. Anywho,
Let's get to it. Let's do this. LGBTQRS.
what I was gonna say is I feel like celebrities are doing this, and
Triggered.
this is not to say anything against people that come out like this, but I feel like a lot of celebrities might do this because they're celebrities.
Oh, you think
For the
people are
attention,
coming
right?
out for the attention? Oh my God.
Or do they do
Right?
it? Are they?
Yeah.
Are they also
It's
doing
100%
it?
attention.
Because you're literally just saying I like open relationships. Okay,
But-
no one gives a crap.
Who cares?
Do whatever you want.
Tell
I
the
don't
person
care.
you're in a relationship with.
But hold
Yeah.
on. But what if they do it because it's going to allow other people to do it too, and it's going to be easier for them?
That's not
It-
no.
it's
for
getting
this
it out
specific.
there.
Okay,
I'm just
I would
saying.
say you're correct, but also for this specific instance, no. It's literally a crazy name for open relationship. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Just like whenever they call regular straight white males cisgender males. So
Cis-
what the who
not
gives
sissies.
just
Cisgender.
say I don't know what you want to say, but say something like it doesn't have to be some crazy name, right?
Well, what's the definition of normal though, right? Well, that's what you were gonna say
Boom.
normal.
You're right.
Technically
You're right.
monogamous.
So we don't have one.
Or we can use. We can also
Monogamous.
use
Would
what
that be?
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing is normal is normal for a reason. Normal is normal because usually that's what works best. Polyamorous
Well-
relationships are not gonna last. I'll tell you that much right now. You're not gonna be happy. I promise.
There's a
you.
lot of studies on that for sure. Actually, there are. You can go look it up.
I don't know.
Because they don't. Because it ends up being obviously there ends up being problems with having multiple relationships all the time. Now hold on a second. That's different than say an open relationship where you're like, well, we have our main marriage, our main relationship, and we also every once in a while bring in another guy or a girl.
Mhm.
That would be called like what, swingers or something, right? That's
Uh,
two married couples,
What
right?
is the actual term?
Does it have to be two married couples?
No, no, not necessarily.
So just a random straggler every once in a while,
but
I
that,
think
that'd
it's
be
different.
but that's polyamory.
It
You're
is.
open to relationships.
So
with
that
others.
describes
That's-
that and an open relationship where you have like multiple relationships going on at
Yeah.
the same time versus just one random dude every once in a while.
Mhm.
Yeah, we know
That's
about
a pretty
that.
broad. It's a pretty broad. Okay, that's a pretty broad definition then, I guess.
Well, it is.
So now it's not what I thought it was.
But them saying that's getting out there. You're going to talk about it. It's going to become
Literally,
more,
what we're doing right now.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's the point I'm trying to make is that they're just doing
It's-
it to do it to make that
But
attention
it's
happen.
also going to help make it more acceptable.
Maybe it will. But why did
But
Sports Illustrated? They
my-
just had their first issue of a transgender person on
yeah.
the cover.
And I agree with the fact that it will make it more acceptable, but is it good that it is more acceptable? Or is it not good that it is more acceptable?
Okay, well let's look at the war on drugs. Let's use that example.
Yeah.
So if we make having more drugs legal, it takes the stigma away.
Right.
So by legalizing more things, now you're going to get people might actually be able to ask for help because there's not a stigma attached to it. So
Right.
that's where the polyamory thing, getting it out there, helps people. Maybe that's what they want to do, and they don't. They don't get looked down upon for it.
Okay, and I would agree with that too, if the people coming out or doing these things are becoming woke, quote unquote, because that's what I would call it.
Yeah.
Don't push it on everybody and make it a big deal. So like if they're
True.
like if they come out and do it right, and it
That's
becomes
true.
this thing where it's like easy, and then like, oh cool, there's no stigma anymore, great.
But
then everyone just lives their life and we're all chilling like villains, dude.
But
You
is
know?
that just your personal opinion on maybe that's not what you agree with, which is fine, and that's what affects that.
Well, no,
Just 'cause
I
it's
haven't.
not something maybe you're interested in,
Right, and
but
that-
other people are.
Sure.
So they need acceptance.
But do we need to change everyone's vocabulary for it?
Man,
That's
that's
what I'm getting at.
where it gets crazy.
Do I need to change my vocabulary?
Okay, let's do it
And
this
you-
way.
and
As long
get
as
mad.
as long as you're not providing a new definition for the same word. That's where I draw the line. If you say like as an example, racism is basically it's no longer discriminating against someone based on the color of their skin. Now racism is if you don't subscribe to this ideology, you are racist.
Right.
And that is not the definition of racism.
Right. Not racism. Yeah. You're right.
So I don't care if you're polyamorous.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really affect me. I'm a libertarian. I don't care.
Right.
But if you were promoting this and saying this is a better way of life, or saying that accepting this will make you happy, that's not the case.
Or if you say that no, I don't really like that idea, and now I'm racist because of that.
Yeah, or I'm a
I'm
transphobe or homophobe or whatever.
That's not right.
Polyamorous.
That's what I'm trying to say, right? So that's what
Right.
it seems to be. That's what seems to be the
Like,
issues we
if
have.
if you don't accept it, you are wrong,
Right.
and that's not right. Because I'm not a fan of polyamorous relationships. I don't care if you are or not. It doesn't affect me. But because I'm not open to that, that makes me a bigot somehow, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same. That's kind of what goes on with the modern sexual identity kind
But
of
the thing
crisis
is too is
we're
that I
having
feel
right
like
now.
all this stuff was happening beforehand. Like we had all this stuff beforehand,
Mhm.
and I know that coming out makes it easier, I guess, for other people to come out.
Yeah.
But like I've met people in the same situation in person, and they didn't seem like they were like hurt or like wronged by not being able to like come out in public and be all crazy
Well,
about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, I'll say it was always at a rave, and maybe they were on Molly. I'm not sure, but I'm just saying they were just like chill. They were cool. They were oh, well, I'm this or that. Okay, cool, and that was it. And it was nothing, right? It wasn't like my voice is not heard. You know what I mean?
Well, I like to point out to most people, we all live in the South. Okay, that means you're not going to just be an asshole to somebody just because they want to be called a certain thing to their
Right.
face. If somebody wants to be called something, most likely anybody in this room is like, oh, if that's what you want to be called. That's fine.
Right.
You're not going to have a problem with it. And that's what everybody needs to remember is most people don't want to be a dick.
Right.
Just if you want to be called something, everybody's cool with it, man. What does it hurt to call somebody what they want to be called?
Right.
Nothing. It doesn't hurt you. Even if you don't agree with it, it's all
Yeah.
good. I mean, hell, people have been racist for years and we still talk to them. It's like, what does it matter?
Right.
I get it. Everybody's a little hung up on the verbiage and things and labels. I get it. I mean, it's a little weird, but if that's what they're going to be called, I'm okay with it. I don't care. Does it hurt you to call them what they want to be called?
No, it
I mean,
doesn't. If
I
I
understand-
slip up, I don't want to be yelled at.
And see, that's
Yeah.
where
That's all I'm saying.
And that's what I like to tell people is just you don't want me to be a dick, then don't be a dick either.
Right.
Just
Goes both
That's what I'm
ways.
saying.
just
It goes
correct
both
somebody.
ways. It goes
Just
both
correct
ways,
them.
bro.
Hey, I want to be called this. Cool. No, dude, most people are not going to be an asshole.
Like
about
I've
it.
called
Yeah.
girls dudes for like my whole life. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I
or
bet you
bro,
did.
Or bro, or oh my gosh, bro. Or bro, or whatever, because I'm just
Yeah.
talking. I'm just,
Well,
that's
and-
how I
and-
talk.
yeah,
and then
and-
all
and
of a sudden
that's-
they're
yeah.
like, they're chill, they're cool.
Yeah.
Or they're just like, never do this again, blah. I'm like, whoa,
Well,
okay, all right.
easy.
Eesh.
But that's where the internet comes in. That's
right.
what it creates is in person.
Everyone's chill.
Yeah, you're not
And
really going to
you
be
realize
like
that
in
real
person.
quick if you
Yeah.
talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's what people need to remember.
So what do you do when you're like locked down and you're always on the internet? You become enraged by other people online.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you need to get off the internet. Is what you need to
That's
do.
society right now,
Come
bro.
talk to your
The
neighbor.
internet is real.
It's real
told me
life,
so.
bro.
Yeah, now because it is what it is. So Matt's not down polyamory. I was going to ask
Man,
him. I had my
steak
hopes
sauce,
up,
dude. Holy crap!
I was ready.
But I brought that Sports Illustrated article up during it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So-
okay, that dude that's on the cover of Sports
Yeah.
Illustrated is
Is it a trans woman that is now a male?
other way around.
No,
Was
other
that
way
a-
around.
So is that natal male?
man,
that is
now a woman.
It's
that is now
a
woman.
man who thinks he's a woman.
Right.
Okay.
Now I'll say this though. I mean,
yeah, man.
it was
throwing
like
it out there. He thinks he's a woman.
Well, he's not a
didn't-
woman.
They
but-
believe they are a woman.
Yeah,
He
but
did-
that doesn't make him a woman.
Okay, all I'm saying
Yeah,
is,
man.
all I'm saying
Welcome
is,
to the podcast.
if they didn't say anything,
Fuck.
if Sports Illustrated had not come out and said,
Oh no,
We're
they got to
doing
come
this.
out. Here we go.
"We're doing this,"
yeah,
you may
you
not
would
have
not
even
have
known.
known.
You wouldn't have known,
That,
bro.
that's some really. That's
So
a good
why did-
ass
Exactly.
doctor
Okay,
right
fine.
there.
So
It's a
why
good
did they
surgeon.
do it?
Okay.
So why did they do
So
it?
who
Publicity.
was it?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, of course.
What is this person doing? Why are they on the cover?
It's a transgender woman in a one piece with,
But it's
jugs hanging out.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. So it wasn't for the Olympics. Or
It's
anything. It was
Sports
just-
Illustrated,
It's
dude.
swimsuit edition.
It's
Okay.
Sports
Swimsuit, yeah.
Illustrated. What do you expect?
Okay. Are
Here's
you
the
mad
thing.
because you liked it?
No. Here's what I'll
Well,
say,
no.
dude. I looked into this, dude. 77% of the people that subscribe to Sports Illustrated are
Dudes,
37-year-old average dudes.
because they grew up on it.
Shocker.
We didn't have porn.
Shocker, you say, yeah,
We didn't have
of
porn.
course.
Yeah.
Internet
I say,
wasn't
of course,
alive
too.
yet.
I agree.
You ever
so,
try to watch-
So where did they come up with the idea to try to please woke culture
I
or
don't know.
younger generations?
I don't know.
Are they just trying to become relevant again? Because they're dying, you think?
Sports Illustrated?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, are they even in circulation anymore?
I think
They actually
Sports
produce
Illustrated.
magazine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they still do it.
Believe it or
I
not,
still
yeah.
think Sports Illustrated. They probably have other things going on. They're a business, right? They have other avenues to make money, I think. But what I'm trying to say is, I mean, where are they? Why would they even do that at all?
Let's just boil
That's not
this
even
down.
their,
It's just- I
that's
think
not
it's
even
just
their
publicity.
audience, bro.
Are they attractive?
Just publicity.
Are they attractive?
The-
I'm sure they are if they're on the cover, right?
Yeah. They're
No,
all
he's-
attractive people.
Yeah, they're attractive people for sure.
So what's the problem?
Nothing's a problem. I'm bringing it up
I
because
like
we're talking about the publicity thing with transgender or
My
stating these
my
facts or
question
whatever the
to
heck.
you was, do you think that is a woman?
She looks like a woman.
So if I had a car that looked like a BMW but was really not a BMW, just had badges on it.
I have a game we can play. So I'll show him 3 different Sports Illustrated covers. One will be the transgender one.
Okay.
Let's see if we can tell the difference.
So Nick is gonna show
You haven't seen the cover?
Nick-
But
It's
if,
good.
but if she has the full swap, she's
full top and
she's
bottom
all a woman
surgery.
then,
She
So-
has sexual surgery too?
which is the
Top and
bottom is
bottom.
very
Yeah.
difficult. Well, actually, no, that's not as difficult. But going the other direction is very difficult.
Mm-hmm. So okay, just to say what Nick said because he doesn't have a mic, he's gonna show Dacus 3 different pictures of the 3 different Sports Illustrated covers that they released, and because apparently they have more than one cover per year now, which is weird.
So, yeah.
And he's gonna see if he can spot.
It can be from different years.
So let's
it's
play.
fine.
Let's play my game. Like we've played this before.
spot the bullshit. No,
What makes you more gay? Watching Ron Jeremy bang a chick, or watching a hot not tranny, sorry, what you call it, lady boy. So you see a lady boy.
Worse.
So you see a lady boy. What? She's got double D's and she's all smooth, but she's got a dick. What makes you more gay? Watching Ron Jeremy bang a chick, or that? I mean, come on.
I don't know, really. I think the real question is how gay is too gay. That's what
So
is gay a spectrum?
Okay. So does anybody here watch lesbian porn only? No. So you're a little gay
I
if you
can't
watch a
admit
dude bang a
anything.
chick.
What was
You're a little
Fifth
gay.
Amendment.
There was a movie that was just like
that's true.
no, it was I think it was Ron White. That was
Yeah, I believe Ron White has a bit about it.
Yeah.
So you like to see a big dick, right? Yeah. A little gay.
Everybody's
That's
a
true.
little gay.
I
Yeah, you have
believe
to- that's why I
that.
said how gay is too gay.
And
It's
think
a
about
spectrum.
it.
It's
You want to see a
spectrum
big
for
old
sure.
hairy dude bang a chick, or you want to see a dude with a nice rack? I mean, I'm not seeing a problem here.
So it is a man.
It is a dude. Yeah, it's
No.
technically yes.
They have already proven that you can't
But
get rid
I
of
guess
all the
he'd be,
testosterone.
what,
It's
transgender?
impossible.
Well, the thing is, your DNA is your DNA. Your
Right.
XY chromosome
That's
is.
true.
But like when it comes to working out and stuff, and like the specific sports that require strength,
Yeah, that's an unfair
you can't.
advantage.
Yeah, you can't get rid of all the testosterone.
Right.
They've already
I
proven.
mean, I
it.
think
They've
that's
proven it.
a common sense
They've proven
issue.
it.
Like that's just like
You think so? but
Now-
it's not.
well,
They're reevaluating it now.
As
and they
of
left it-
now, you can stop puberty.
Mhm.
You can stop it with medication.
Hormone
You can-
blockers.
yeah, you can stop it.
Yeah.
So
sure.
you can do it.
Yep.
Now everybody has to remember, even if you go backwards, you're not going to get everything you could have had. You're going to get a lot of it back, but you're not going to get everything because you didn't have it. So if you're male, your testosterone is probably not going to be where it's supposed to be. If you're
Right.
female, you're probably not going to get everything you're supposed to have either. So the question is, so what does that look like later on? Is everybody going to be happy with that?
no.
It's an interesting issue. Boy, y'all got quiet. You
Interesting.
talk about lady boys,
Interesting.
y'all get quiet.
No.
Hitting too
I'm
close to
thinking.
home?
I'm
I get
thinking about it.
so I
Here we
listened
go.
to this one psychologist who actually was transgender for like 30 years. Like he's in his 70s or 80s at this point when he was giving this lecture, and he was in his I want to say he was in his 20s when he transitioned from a man to a woman, and he
Okay,
transitioned back. But he ended up like regretting it deeply, and now he goes on these lectures to basically talk people out of transitioning because of how detrimental it can be and how quickly people can make that decision. So
Yeah,
it's a
and
rash, life altering,
especially now you don't have
decision.
to be. You don't even have to be. Well, in some states, you don't even have to be 18. You know.
or parental consent, which is
It's crazy. Man.
terrifying.
Here we go, dude. We're gonna do it. Here's number one.
Number one?
To the right.
To the right. Dick pics are on the left.
Yeah.
That's the one. Is that one transgender?
No.
Oh.
Which one is
The
it?
answer is I fuck all of them. I mean, who cares?
Oh.
They're
okay.
all. So you're telling me they're not pretty?
Hold on. I need to see
I
this.
never
too.
said
haven't seen
that.
this.
I'm just saying. I mean, you would take any of those home to a bar. From a bar, sorry.
I
There's
mean,
only three
You
of them,
would.
right? There's only
Would
three
you?
of them.
Now,
Yeah, there's only-
let's say
If
the
you're
next
at a
morning.
bar, you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't even notice.
So the next morning, if you had sex with this person,
I would not take Megan Thee Stallion home.
but
Just gonna
but
say
let's
it.
say you had sex with any of these women and you
Legs
took them
are way too
home,
big.
and the next morning they told you they were trans.
Yeah, I was literally gonna say her,
Who
but
cares?
the only reason I was gonna say her is because of how over the top it all seems.
Oh,
And I'm
it's a
like,
little too
what-
much?
What the hell? Like, yeah, it just seems.
No, that's
Well,
not-
I mean, they're not
Who-
men.
which one is it?
That one.
Is that one?
That's the one.
Lena Blue.
It's her?
Lena
Lena
Blue.
Blue. Yeah, and you're
Okay.
gonna tell me she's not hot.
I never said anything.
She is hot.
The way they do it, for sure. But
She is hot.
Here's what I'll say though. What I was gonna say at the beginning.
That looks like a straight
so
up woman.
when I started looking into this, I was like, what the hell? Like, the thing is that even when you see girls on the cover, you're like, if you saw them in real life, would they look like that? Probably not.
Mm-mm.
And I feel like there's a lot of stuff they can also do. Obviously, if they can do that with girls, they can do it with anyone, all people.
Airbrush is the
So they
thing.
can make them. They
Well,
can make
yeah.
that guy look freaking hot. Let's see that guy in person.
That person is probably
Without makeup.
exceptionally passable. Even without makeup, you probably still take her home and not even know it.
You know,
No problem,
yeah, maybe
dude.
so. I don't know. You know,
Hey,
because
what- so-
beer will do
So
a
the
lot
next
of
morning,
things, bro.
are you really gonna feel bad if you had sex with her? Or would you really? I mean, how would you be mad at yourself? Well, technically, it was a guy. Was it? She looks like a female. She acts like a female.
That's what I'm.
I mean, how
goes
could you
back-
be mad?
It goes back to my car analogy. If it looks like a BMW and it drives like a BMW, and it's
Yeah.
got BMW badges, but really underneath it's just like a basic
I
like
mean,
Volkswagen.
How could you be mad? And she's fucking hot.
It's
What-
still a Volkswagen.
Still a Volkswagen.
I get
Yeah.
And you get into it and you're like, this interior's trash. I hate Volkswagen.
Whoa,
it.
easy.
I get it.
Like,
wow.
there you go, bro.
Wow. Volkswagen, you're shitting on everybody.
RX-7s,
RX-7s,
Volkswagens, get the heck out.
Volkswagen, damn. But I mean, to each his own.
Now, I didn't say I wouldn't take her home, take him home, take it home.
It's her.
But I
It's
also,
her.
but I
Not
also,
it. It's
when we get
her.
home, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know?
Oh, you're gonna fuck her hard. That's what you're gonna do.
No, it would be like, oh my gosh.
Oh, so
oh
you,
my god.
are you upset because she got rid of the penis? Is that what you're mad?
I'm not upset, dude.
Oh, you're livid. Oh my, I'm sorry. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
No, but on that cover,
We're gonna
yeah,
be fine.
Looks hot, but I don't know.
She's hot.
My
I'm
whole
just saying,
argument
bro,
is
airbrush, bro.
Yeah, my whole argument is it really? It goes back to the same question I had with the Willow Smith thing. Is it really healthy though for our society to let's say instead of gender dysphoria, where you believe you're a different gender than what you were born with, let's say it's schizophrenia, and you believe that there's other people, that you're hearing other people in your head, other voices. If we play into that and say it's bigoted of me to deny your internal voices, your internal different personalities. If you have multiple
truths, they're
personalities,
called.
yeah, that's your personal truth. Who am I to say that that's not real? That's not legitimate. And we play into that. Is that healthy for that person? Obviously, it's not. So how is
Right.
it any different with gender dysphoria, where you believe you're a different gender?
Well, I think that comes down to if you even believe
It's
that
an
gender dysphoria is a mental disorder.
It is,
I agree with you. It is.
and it's
But-
it's in medical journals as
yeah.
a
And it's
Yeah,
a real
it's
thing.
stated as it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
is.
it's a real thing.
Real thing.
Yeah, and when you know, you know.
But
A lot of them know.
I was told by Nick. We actually had this conversation
Oh,
a few
God.
days ago. He said also being gay was treated as a disorder.
It used to be thought they used to try to treat you
And
for
they changed
yes,
it.
they did.
And I was
Now-
like, that's
They did.
interesting.
Doesn't make it right, but
What's
they
the
did.
difference here?
Here's the question. Is homosexuality a chemical imbalance in your brain just like every other mental disorder? And the answer is obviously yes,
Yes,
it is.
it is.
It is a mental disorder.
Right.
Is it a thing that if we play into that, if we say gays have the right to do this, gays have the right to do that, is that detrimental to our society? That's where I say probably not. I think gays getting married is fine because I don't think the government should be involved in whether who marries who or whatever.
Right.
I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I don't care.
Right.
Just like saying if someone is transgender, if they want to transition, cool, fine, whatever. But don't make me call them a woman if they're a man, and don't let them go into a different restroom if they don't have the right appendages.
Right. I think the make me part is the key words there.
Exactly.
So yes,
That's what it boils down to.
Right. It's the
You're
it's the
imposing that
pressure,
view on
right.
everyone else.
Societal pressure on everybody. That's dumb. Everyone can do whatever they want. That's fine. And
Right.
like you said, yeah, usually when you see someone in person, you want to be a nice guy. I get it. That's fine. But I don't want any societal pressure from all this crap to do something. That's
Right.
dumb.
Like if I saw that, whatever their name
Woman.
was, in well, I don't
Lena?
know her
Lena?
name.
Was that
Lena?
Yeah, I think so.
Lena?
Lena. If I saw Lena in real life, I would just say, "What's up, Lena? How you doing?"
Right.
I'd be nice.
How you doing?
And I'd call him Lena instead of "What's up, dude?" or "What's up, man?" You know,
I mean,
I'm not going to be a jerk to that person in a face-to-face interaction because I'm not a jerk.
Well, the problem is I would probably,
But,
without knowing the name, I would probably accidentally say dude anyway. I say dude all the time,
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah.
No matter what.
But anyway, it's not like I'm not going to be confrontational about it, but I'm also not going to change my perspective on reality because you are changing your physical appearance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does, Matt.
Now that being said,
And we need to have Melissa back on. I want to talk to her about this.
yeah, Melissa De Silva.
Dude.
I had all these
Someone-
questions lined up for her.
Psychology. She's a transgender psychologist. Or
She's not
sorry,
transgender.
transgender life coach.
Yeah.
So she's not transgender,
Okay.
but she is a life
She
coach
life
for
coach,
transgenders.
yes,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Advocates for them.
And we had a really good conversation.
We had a conversation with
her.
her, a long conversation. We were on Zoom, and it was a problem. Zoom didn't do whatever. It sucked. We're gonna do it again, and she's cool about it. She's really, really chill about it. The interesting thing is that she ended up agreeing on a lot of things we said, but so I almost didn't understand why she was still in the same position. But then
Well,
she's like, "We're leaving." She left. And,
Yeah, I think
anyway.
a lot of the issue comes from, I don't know if any of us really here have the education level that explains it.
Right.
It's very specific to explain a lot of this and why they think the way they do and this, that, and the other. There's a lot to it.
Right.
There's also a lot of domestic violence issues
Yeah.
in that community, in LGBTQ communities.
Suicide.
That's a problem.
No, that's the
Suicide
thing
rate,
is
that's a
what
problem.
So when does that become detrimental?
No,
Is
well,
that
I
what
was
you're
going to
gonna
say when
It's
does that
It's
when does
usually related to not being accepted, though.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
a lot
right.
of. If they're not accepted,
Now-
they can't come out and.
if
That leads to
they
problems.
weren't accepted, if they were abused because they weren't accepted, that's different than them being abused or not being accepted and then abused. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? So the man I was talking about earlier, who was in his later years, 70s, 80s, and who was transgender for like 40 years, he lived his life as a woman. And transition back into being a man. He said that he would counsel other transgender peoples, and he said between 90 and 100% were abused as children. And they had horrible identity crises because of this. And he said that a lot of them were a young boy that said that if I'm no longer a boy, I won't get abused. So they would transition. A lot of them that were teenage girls that are going through all these different hormonal changes and puberty and being a teenage girl where nobody accepts you and nobody really likes you and girls are just nasty to each other during that phase. They want to get out of that body. They want to get out of that skin and go be something else. Being a boy is way more simple at that age. So a lot of them do that. The rate of transgenderism in high schools went from like 0.001% in the mid 2000s, 15 years ago, to being like 2 to 3% today.
Yeah.
And that's not just because it's more acceptable. That's because That's because people are being pushed into that. They're saying if you're uncomfortable with who you are in any way, if you just switch sexes, all of your worries will not disappear, but you'll be accepted into this community where you'll belong to something bigger than yourself.
Oh,
and a
for
lot
sure.
of people go after that, but I think going into that LGBTQIA plus community just because you want to belong to something and you change your whole identity because of it, or you come out as polyamorous or whatever, just because you want to fit into that community and go into that woke sphere, that is no reason to change your whole outcome on relationships and how you view other people and how you view yourself. The end.
He laid a lot on
No, that's good.
a
That's good.
lot.
Needs to be said.
Yeah. You just got to think very carefully before you cut your dick off. Is all I got to say.
Damn.
Ooh.
From what I understand, a lot of them who go that far, they know.
Yeah. Okay.
They know.
If
They
you're
know.
going that far,
yeah, they know.
you know.
They have felt that way for a very long time.
Yeah.
They know.
And that's fine. That's cool with me.
Yeah.
Well,
like if
hope
I
they
saw,
know. I don't know.
yeah,
The no consent thing. I don't know.
Most of the
What if we go down
time-
that path? What
Yeah,
if we go down
they
that
know.
road?
you
know?
got to be like in your probably your mid 20s before you can even make that kind of decision, at least. Now there were like 60 Minutes did a interview or a series of interviews with a whole bunch of very young transgender people that had gone there and back, and one woman, really a girl, so I think she was 18, had a double. She went from going to counseling, and then 3 months later had a double mastectomy, and then a few months after that was on, or actually double mastectomy and hormones, and then after that, less than a year later, she said, "What am I doing?" and retransitioned back into being a woman and identified as a woman again. And looking back, she was like, I just had an identity crisis and was pushed by these doctors to go this route. Didn't have to have any parental consent. Didn't have to have any time to think about it. And it was just lightning fast as far as therapy goes. You should have therapy. And this is where I kind of agree with the like Transgender Association of America, whatever it is. They say you really should have at least a year of constant therapy, like 3 times a week therapy, to really hash out why you feel this way, what the root causes are. Is it really an identity crisis, or is it an externality causing this feeling of discomfort in your own skin?
From what I understand, it's very limited. Before you transition, you have to be.
Your wife's a counselor, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say we should have your wife
should
on.
have your
That'd
wife
actually
on.
that'd be
Talk about
good.
the kids at school.
I won't
Y'all-
go like
You-
quite as hard if your wife is on. I'll be a little bit more like
Oh, no.
ease into my
I
views.
don't know. I want to know what she says. Pretty much.
Well, yeah, I wanna-
Let
She's
her
gonna
talk.
verbally whip y'all's ass.
I bet she
So
will.
from what I understand, before you transition, you have to you have a psychologist, shrink. Someone is involved.
Mm-hmm.
You go to counseling beforehand. You have to live 1 year with the gender that you choose. For that, you have to start living a lifestyle, and then your psychologist, whoever, has to talk to you again, and they're with you the whole step.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so it's I know there are people who are not making people do the steps. Like there are some
They're
doctors that are
fast-tracking, yeah.
fast tracking. From what I know, most of the time, even when they're young, they've had counseling, and then they continue counseling, and then they actually have to, before they transition, they have to be monitored. They have to live the lifestyle to prove that that's what they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. So I don't know.
I would say like the vast majority even of cases, that is the case where they do go through those steps. You can call them proper or improper. I haven't made up my mind yet on that, but you do go through like a very long process,
Yeah.
and it takes years to
Yeah,
really
it's
go
not
through
just
it.
Boom, we're doing it.
But I think those doctors that are fast tracking it should be definitely sued for malpractice if they haven't been already.
Yeah,
Because
I mean-
I think even your wife would agree like that's not right,
Yeah,
that they're
there's
making
a
those decisions
process.
so fast.
Yeah, there's a process to it.
That's
of
where
how
I
to
have
do
a
it.
big problem with
Well,
it.
my other problem with all of these problems is that there's not a set like rule book on it yet. Yes,
Right.
these doctors may
Yeah.
do that. Yes, that may be the common theme. Okay, you
That's
go
because
for
that's
years
because
and
this
do all
is
this
a,
stuff.
it's a,
But there's no enforcement, like you just said. They're not getting enforced to do these things like that.
it's because it's a psychology and psychological issue. It's not
Right.
really a medical issue per se.
And they're the ones that make the call.
Right.
They get to make the calls. You know, they tell me that I have ADHD and I need medication, right?
Anything to sell those pills, dude.
Yeah. Right. But I didn't bend over. I didn't take those medications.
Well, he didn't bend over
I
for the
wanted to see-
medication.
Not for him.
I wanted to see
Not
what he
for
would
that
say to
guy.
that.
I mean,
That's Italian.
Were you wearing a bow tie
I
that day?
laid that one on you. Okay?
Yeah, his back.
Guys,
Yeah, that's
listen
what
up
you
right
like.
now. If you've made it this far,
Oh, God.
thank you. But
You're
also,
a trooper.
if you're listening for the first time, this is the Toasty Podcast. We always talk about controversial topics like you just heard. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and give us a follow. Give us a subscribe. I can't talk. And also, go ahead and share the show. That is how we grow. If you share. Dang, dude.
Or you rub it and grow.
I'm like,
He's nervous
like, I
because
can't,
we
like,
called him out for wearing a bow tie.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you nervous?
So we started a new segment today, guys, and it's called, I guess we're just going to call it Fact Check. But
We'll
I don't
call
know
it
what we're
maybe
gonna-
Nick's Fact Check Corner.
Toasty Facts.
Blue
Nick's
jobs.
Fact Check Corner. Nick's
Oh,
Fact
God.
Check Corner. No, what do you want? Do you want it to be called something? Like your segment?
I don't know.
This is literally where you're going to get to. So not this time, but every other time now, you'll be on the mic and you'll just bop, bop, bop.
So he's,
Okay.
he's fact checking this podcast.
Do you want to
Is
let
that
him
what you're
borrow my mic and let him just read
we don't,
off
have, we don't have to do it today.
We
but
should
next
take-
time we need to do that.
Ah,
Sky's
whatever.
mic.
Let's do it.
It's a
saying?
people.
Yeah, it does.
Everyone, this is Nick. Nick, this is everyone.
I am Nick.
What are we fact checking?
He's our fact checker. He just
I
joined the
get-
team, guys. We're trying
So
to get used
are
to
we
everything.
fact checking this podcast? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yeah. So every
Do we fail?
podcast.
He made notes.
I mean, it's just three white guys talking shit. It's like, oh, yeah, we know what we're talking
You'd
about.
be surprised how much there is the fat check.
Yeah, it's like
Every
oh, God.
podcast, Nick is a freaking master note
This
taker.
is where
and
I get ripped to shreds and
fact
like,
checker.
oh, your crazy white
Well-
ring propaganda is all.
well-
we need to have this segment for the people out there that want the truth, and we want this podcast to be about truth. So if we're going to do that, that means we got to fact check everything we say, and that is what we're doing.
Okay.
Better have-
Well, so there's a lot of opinions that
Correct.
flow through
Oh,
here,
shit.
and so
Yeah.
there's a lot that is impossible to fact check properly, right?
Right.
So I mostly pick up little tidbits that I think are interesting
That's
or that
good. That's good. Yeah. That's all we
is
need, bro.
relevant. But college tuition was obviously a big topic at the beginning. So I looked up the average college tuition as recorded in 2018 and 2019. In-state residents of 4 years would pay approximately $25,000 over the course of that 4 years. Out of state be up to $41,000, and then private colleges would be charging about $52,000 over the course of 4 years. Now, this is from the website topuniversities.com. Of course, those
That's
numbers-
interesting. That's really low.
Yeah.
from what I
That sounds
expected.
low.
Sounds
And
Sounds
well,
really low.
It sounds like,
here's-
per year, maybe.
I want
here's
to
the
say
thing
mine was
is-
about $4,500 a semester.
I was gonna say a lot of the websites I was looking at, all the averages seemed really low.
Right.
So I'm wondering what statistic is actually skewing that average.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're trying to make it seem more enticing than it actually is.
Hmm.
There, again, there's some stuff that needs to be looked into more thoroughly, and there can be follow-up,
Dude,
things.
you're good.
But
No
we'll-
worries, man.
we'll-
Our
we'll go into
listeners
it.
should be smart enough to go do research on their own.
Yeah, of course. It's all.
Nick's gonna get canceled. That's
Yeah,
it. He's done.
that's it. I'm worst
out.
fact checker ever.
He's out.
Right?
After we just
So-
talked about transgenders, yeah.
We talked a little bit about the Toyota production system. It is an integrated socio-technical system that comprises its management philosophies and practices. And Sky mentioned that it involved martial arts at one point. And it is kata, which is Japanese for a way of doing, that is derived from karate, and it is used to instill patterns, routine, or training
Yeah.
for constant daily
You get
improvement.
very good at doing
Yeah.
it over and over.
Right.
Right.
Which
And
is-
that's why
that's
that's why
true.
they do the exact
That's
same
true.
thing. Yeah.
Yep. Master electricians take about 12,000 hours, which would translate to about 6 years working 40 hours a week to become a master electrician. And it's about the same for plumbers, maybe a little bit less. So I looked up on YaleMedicine.org. Pfizer reported a 95% efficacy in prevention without prior infection. Now, there was a lot of other things that we could go back and look into that they were talking about. Like the phrasing gets a little...
Sure.
Like I caught the without prior infection. That kind of changes what it's actually trying to get after. The Wankel rotary engine has been the ideal choice for small propeller-driven aircraft.
since
I
like
would
forever.
never have guessed
Still
that.
is?
Um,
No, you don't. You
I'm
good,
not
you're
buying
I was
good.
gonna say we can
No,
get back
no,
into
no,
it,
no,
but
no,
that
no,
was the
it's okay.
tidbit.
It's okay. We lost listeners.
No, there was a lot of car talk in there too, but yeah,
Well,
that's
that
what
was
I'm
the
talking
specific thing that we were
Yeah.
arguing with Matt about, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I don't know. Has anyone actually ever seen one?
What do you mean?
An
Seen that
airplane that
engine?
has that? I
I
can't say
haven't.
Oh,
I have.
I haven't been in that aircraft.
Flown on one
fucking-
multiple
I'm
times.
With the rotary?
I'm assuming
With the rotary?
Cessnas would probably
Yeah.
be the ones that
Yeah.
have that Wankel rotary engine
So,
because
yeah.
it says it was specific
Nice,
to
dude.
say small
Yeah.
propeller driven
Steven, the
aircraft.
guy I want to have on here, would know, but whatever.
Tests used for auto retailers for employment. There are the criteria basic skills test, or the CBST, the Wiesen test of mechanical aptitude, the WTMA, and the employee personality profile, or EPP. Got those from criteriacorp.com. We also talked about the MBTI, which is the Myers-Briggs test indicator, which actually is under a lot of criticism. Because it's all self-reporting, right? And this was something I did in the Air Force as well. And
Self-reporting. You can you can basically
Well,
rig it. You can rig it however you want.
there was a lot of reporting on the fact that if the people taking the test feel like they have something to lose if they answer differently,
Yeah,
it
it's
skews
skewed.
the
Yeah,
results
exactly.
because you want it. And even I experienced that when I took it.
Yeah.
Because I liked the one that I got. So a couple years later, I felt myself wanting to answer a particular way because I was like, ooh, I like this personality.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. On the personality test, are you graded or judged upon the ones you answer only, or the entire thing?
Well, you're not graded at all.
But if you choose to not answer all questions, are you only judged on the ones that you did
Oh, I
answer?
see what you're saying. I don't know.
Because that becomes interesting.
well, the
I don't think you'd be
MBTI
able to
uses.
I was just curious. I don't
I think
know.
it'd be
It
possible. if you
uses
could.
a sliding scale answer. So if you answer neutral in a lot of them, like there's
They
a
know.
strongly agree or strongly disagree, you're not going to get as accurate results with the neutral answers. Paul Rubens, or Pee Wee Herman, was
Yes.
arrested in July 1991 for indecent exposure in adult theater in Sarasota, Florida. The movie playing in the adult theater was Nancy Nurse, Turn Up the Heat, and Tiger Shark.
It was a 3-for-1.
It was a triple feature, if you will. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC.gov, reports that employers should not request race information unless being used for affirmative action hire.
Gotcha.
But there still should be tearaway sheets so as not to basically ensure that the employer is hiring based on if they qualify for the job or not.
Right.
Let's see what else we got. Average salary for poli-sci degree would be $33,465 for a bachelor's and about $54,838 for a master's. Professional student is a slang term for students typically that basically just stay in school forever. It's also a student majoring in what is considered professional degrees. There's Doctor of Education, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine.
Joe Biden.
There's also a less common meaning for professional students, and it's an individual who makes a living writing papers and doing college work in exchange for pay from other people.
Bro.
Why would you
that's-
just be a professor?
Professional plagiarist right there.
Yeah.
Right, or
seriously,
writer.
Let's go, baby.
And also the last
Free market.
Well, I got two more things. So we have homosexuality was removed by the APA, or American Psychiatry Association, from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual in 1973. And finally, there were a total of 23 gay jokes this podcast.
That's all? I feel like there was more than that.
It felt like more,
honestly,
but
it felt like less,
Those are
guys.
rookie numbers.
There's a lot for the Toasty podcast.
And that's the fact check.
I did tell you guys that has been Nick's Fact Check Corner. We gotta call it something different.
We'll come up with names. We'll workshop
We'll go
it.
with
That's
different
so
name.
smooth, though.
And now it's time for our Facebook Warrior. This is what everyone's been clamoring for. You could win a Toasty Tea if you comment on my Facebook question every week, and that's what we call the Facebook Warrior. Get ready. Today is a juicy one.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Facebook Warrior. Last week's question of if you could regulate the big social media platforms, how would you do it? It was a good one, and we went over that last week. But the winner of that was Kevin Miller. If you could, message me on Facebook, on Instagram, or anywhere else you find us, like listentoastypodcast at gmail.com. I will get a shirt right out to you. I just need your address, and, well, that's it. So this week's question was, scrolling up the comments, is China an enemy or an adversary?
Oh, you want to answer?
Like, what do you guys say? What do you guys think? Before I get into it, what do you guys think? So the difference is, hold on one second.
Okay.
The difference is an
All
enemy
right,
and adversary.
all right.
So enemy obviously means they're your enemy. You're going to fight them.
No,
in
we're
a
in
way.
competition.
Right. Adversary means they are an opponent, but not necessarily
like a rival.
A rival, but not necessarily an enemy. Like, so football teams, right? So your football team, you'll have a rival. They're an adversary. They're a worthy adversary.
Mhm. They
You're
shake
going to
hands
go
at the
against
end.
them, but they shake hands at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So is China, and we know that we all have tension with China right now. America and China have tensions, but are they an enemy, a straight enemy, or are they an adversary? Can we?
They're an adversary.
Okay.
They're an adversary.
I would say they're an adversary, but they're one naval position away. Like if they start making aggressive moves towards Taiwan, or if they start making aggressive moves in
You can't say Taiwan.
more aggressive moves in the country of Taiwan,
Oh God.
or if they make more aggressive moves in the South China Sea, or start encroaching on Japan, because we have a treaty with Taiwan.
Mhm.
So if they attack or
If
are
they
aggressive
attack
to
Taiwan, do you think we'll actually do something? We're supposed to, I know, but do you think we will?
I don't
it
think so. Depends on the
that
severity.
question aside, if they do something
Okay.
like that, they are definitely an enemy.
Right. So that question
100%.
is. We'll get
and
into
I
that question
think,
later.
And I think they're like on the level 5 adversary, like highest adversary you could possibly be.
Before you're an enemy.
One little step away
so
from being an enemy.
so they're
yeah.
like right on the cusp of
I
being
mean,
the
they
enemy.
are
right?
like Japan thinking about attacking Pearl Harbor right now.
But we
they're
gave it
knocking
to
on the
them.
door.
Yeah.
We gave them this power.
Yeah,
We
I
sent
know.
them our jobs.
Oh no, we
sent them
I
other
agree.
places.
We all
It's like,
agree
dude,
that.
Yes.
they're
I've
kicking our
been
ass on a
ranting
whole lot of
So
levels.
I have a rant
you'll
about
see,
that.
You'll
Yeah,
see.
it's
You ready?
bad.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you want to take a tally, I'm gonna tally up all the comments of enemy versus adversary. Dave Sign, always in the comments. This guy is a loyal fan. Enemy.
You mean your only fan?
Nathan Von Rocket Dickey is his name.
Is that his real name?
That's his Facebook name. I don't
Okay.
know if that's his real name, bro.
I'm gonna say
Sweet
that's-
Facebook name. By
He
the way.
said, yeah, heck yeah, Von Rocket. He said yes. So both. So I
Wait.
guess there's now 3 tallies.
Incorrect.
I don't know.
There
how
was
you
no
do it.
other.
You can't be
just
both.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what?
I didn't know there was a yes answer.
He's put quotes around it too. Yes.
Did you define in the Facebook post pretty clearly like the difference between enemy and adversary? or
No,
did
I
you
expected
just-
people to know or look it up.
Wow, you
What
fucking
enemy
expect
is
too
or-
much.
Well,
Wow.
Bro, if I read a question and said, "What the heck was the difference?"
I would know, 'cause-
I'd go to Google and be like, "What's the difference in enemy and adversary?"
I'll be like, this is stupid.
And to be completely honest with you, when he sent me that question, that's exactly what I did. So I know what it is because I just looked it up. I figured people would do the same thing. Like, okay.
Uh-huh. You assume too much.
The next guy, Doug Worth, says both as well.
come on, guys, sitting on the fence.
They obviously don't listen to the Toasty podcast.
They're not toasty enough.
Maybe they're trying to sell something over there.
Daniel Garcia, enemy in almost every way. Military and manufacturing industry being huge issues. I know what you said.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
well, whose fault's that?
Matt Ring, the people of China are not our enemy. The government of China is.
That sounds about right. I mean,
Of course, that's what I was telling
that
about you
sounds
earlier.
pretty
Like,
fair.
why do they?
Mm-hmm. When I say China, when we pose this question, we mean the CCP.
Yeah, we definitely don't mean the people of China because they are the ones under the CCP. They're the ones being ruled over
Mhm.
by the
The
CCP.
Chinese Communist Party is an
yeah.
evil regime.
Anthony Cordero, who also answered other questions and also won the last 2 T-shirts ago. You need to send me your address, bro, if you're listening. He said enemy.
A lot more enemies than I was expecting.
Brian Casco, the guy that was on our podcast recently,
Yes.
said China, no, CCP, big eye emoji. So he didn't answer the question. So that is a neutral,
I'm gonna go with enemy.
out of the game.
Just
You're going to go with enemy?
just based on talking with that guy for a few hours, I feel like he
Yeah,
would, he would
enemy.
basically
Yeah, well, he
probably
would say enemy
that.
for
He would
sure.
say
John
enemy.
Vega says correct, so I don't know what he was correct on, but whatever.
Enemy.
This is great,
Wow.
right?
I don't think that's a very good question. I just don't. But
It should have been worded differently.
Yeah.
you also left out the like. There's one dude in there who mentioned CCP. You know what I mean?
But most people probably don't even know what the CCP is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't think about that.
That's why I was like, I'm gonna leave it vague and just say China.
It's okay. I just don't think that's a great question.
We should have said rival or enemy.
I didn't know this was a damn roast session. I'm just kidding.
Well,
We're
yeah.
already past it. We're here.
Okay,
But I
so-
agree. But I don't
Or
know
I think
how
competitor
else, so how else
or
would we have
enemy.
done it?
Yeah.
Competitor or enemy.
Oh,
Because
competitor, right?
Competitor, I think, makes because you don't want to destroy them, but they're not exactly our friends, right?
Right. Like.
Yeah.
They're still useful to have around in the economy. They still drive us to be better and things like that.
Yeah.
The
But-
UK is a competitor.
Are they going to be the next Super Bowl?
Right.
but not an enemy? Right.
That's the question.
It's okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep going.
You should.
fine.
Let's
I mean,
finish
we
it. We'll
fact
finish the
check
tally.
Nick. Get out of
Why
here.
do we
No,
give
I'm
this
just
guy
kidding.
a mic?
Dig that hole.
Why did we do? No, you're good, dude. Wally Ed, we need that good criticism, guys. But also, you can look this up on Google. That's all I want to say.
Wow. I don't have to do
Be an
anything.
independent thinker, guys.
Please look it
Go
up.
out there and find the answers for yourself.
That
Wow.
is literally our podcast, bro. Be independent thinkers.
I thought you
Anyway,
had information.
Listen to us. Go think for yourself.
listen to us. Don't listen to us. Go
Yeah.
somewhere else. Wally Ed, I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly. Wally, I'm just gonna say Wally. Wally Alikozai. What?
You're a linguist, awesome person.
They'll tell us, bro. Enemy for sure. The fact that majority of the world runs on their shipping is bad enough. He knew the difference.
But do
Asher
you?
Asher Woodman. CCP is the enemy. Okay, so enemy.
And he specified too. He knows.
He did, yeah.
Good.
Brandon, most of our listeners are pretty,
All of our listeners are pretty damn smart, Nick.
They're
yeah.
They're Google
so
savvy?
get off their jocks, bro.
Then why do you need a fact check?
For us, bro. I didn't say the hosts were smart. Just say the
Yeah.
listeners
Yeah,
were
exactly.
smart.
The listeners are
no,
just
we-
as smart as the host.
No,
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Or smarter. Brandon Pina. I'm gonna guess it's Pina because it was a little asterisk over the
Chica.
end.
There's a little chica over there.
More like our enemy because of this pandemic. They said.
Now the question is, if they release that on purpose, 100% enemy, we should invade China. Just saying.
But
Next,
do
next,
we believe that they did it on purpose?
Yeah,
No.
some people do. There's
I
actually a
believe-
documentary being made right now about it.
I believe that they accidentally let it out, and I believe that
Yeah.
they did not. They covered it up on purpose.
Correct. They covered it
Well,
up
yeah.
on purpose.
Because if they released it on
yes.
purpose, that's an act of war against the world,
Yeah.
and the whole world would be like all against China.
Well, yeah.
So you sent me that video. Is that
Game
that
over.
documentary? That pandemic documentary or something like that? What was it called?
It was just a video on Facebook. I haven't vetted it, so I don't want to talk about it yet. But
I mean, I haven't vetted it either. I tried to look into the documentary though, and there was another one over literally like the same idea over a doctor that's a girl, not a guy like the one on the other
Oh,
one.
God. Here we
Right.
go.
And it was
Here we go again.
But was
No.
it really a girl? No, I'm just kidding.
no, dude, but it was like a scientist.
He
sorry, not
said
a
it was a
doctor.
girl.
A scientist that's like really
24.
well known, and then she was like pretty much freaking. She was freaking just like kicked to the curb pretty much because
Right.
of what she thought about the pandemic, quote unquote, is what she said. Anyway, James Clark responding to Brandon Pina. Pandemic, scamdemic seems like the suitable words. Ha ha ha. China isn't the enemy. Bill Gates owned the facility in Wuhan, and rumor has it that he owns Pfizer as well. Just some nugs, he says.
First off, no, Bill Gates does not own Pfizer.
Correct.
He may own Pfizer stock, and
he
a lot
might
of
own
it.
Yeah.
Pfizer. Yep,
He may
correct.
stand to make a lot of money
Right.
off of it. He may provide Microsoft as a company may provide Pfizer with a lot of software.
Mhm.
And second point is, no, Bill Gates does not own the Wuhan lab. That is stupid. Bill Gates may contribute to the lab. The CCP owns every little bit of everything that's in China.
Yeah.
People don't own property in China. They can't buy
Correct.
their own land. They can't buy their own house. They can lease it from the Communist Party for 99-year leases.
Right.
That's the most they can do.
Sounds like Matt's
So
doing a lot of research.
if James Clark is listening, we have to respectfully say that you're wrong. All right.
Dang.
Ian Berman. Lon Berman? Sorry, buddy. Just because they're the only country that can plan more than 2 months into the future doesn't mean they're evil.
I'm going to put that one in adversary.
Sounds like he's a communist sympathizer and needs to be.
And I commented.
Whoa.
Sometimes your enemies are the most necessary part of your life.
But I will.
It drives you forward.
Yeah.
That is to say, the original question was enemy or adversary. So
Yeah.
you didn't answer the question.
We've already
And
agreed.
I will
That's
say,
shit question.
Fucking Sun Tzu in the fucking comment
I
section
will
over
say,
here.
and I will say, like,
Rewrite the art of war over here.
you don't think Germany was planning years and years ahead?
Hey, that happened from a party.
Whoa.
And
They
the-
had a friend.
Germany, or you mean Hitler?
I mean,
The Nazi Party,
he means
Germany, and
Nazis.
Hitler.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of them were all planning years ahead. Okay.
Well, they're
and
mad
then,
about the first war.
And
Right.
then yeah, exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
And then
Sanctions.
World War II came, and Hitler was
Yeah.
on way too much.
I don't know how you can defend. He's
Amphetamines
literally
and coke.
defending them. I don't understand how you can defend them in this sense. Obviously, they have other things that it's our problem. But
Yeah.
John Gills responded to him as well and said, "Go live there then. Let's see how you feel if you're a Uyghur. Is that how you pronounce it?
Uyghur,
Muslim, or even if you decide to have an opinion."
Right.
It's crazy. Chris Funk, or sadly, a critical link in our foolish global supply chain? Question mark. Definitely, he says definitely an adversary. So adversary.
I like that response a lot.
Chris Funk's the guy I actually met. I bought some stuff from my E30 there, or from him, or borrowed some stuff or whatever. Met him in person. Really cool guy. Kind of want to have him on the show sometime. So
I like that. I like the way you rephrase that critical link in the supply chain.
because like you were talking about earlier, that is the reason that they are where they are, right?
Yep.
Because we had to offshore all of our.
We
Us?
need useless shit.
And all of
Manufacture.
Europe too. Don't forget there's
Yeah.
500 million people living in Europe,
Yep.
and all their crappy goods are made in China
Yep.
too, just like us.
And 500 million is more than ours.
Oh
Or
yeah.
more than our population.
Yeah.
330.
Yeah.
Travis Collins, frenemy.
No.
China government is an enemy. Chinese people are friends. That's how he says it.
Chinese people aren't allowed to be anything.
So
First of all.
say enemy, according to China.
CCP
Wow.
is enemies.
Chris.
We don't get along with them. We don't get along with them.
I
It's a
thought it was Matt
landslide at this
Staten.
point.
Like in our
Oh, yeah.
bilateral meetings, there was like shots fired last time. Not literally, but there was like a lot of animosity.
Right.
And when the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, met him in the Arctic Circle, or I guess it wasn't in the Arctic Circle, it was in Alaska somewhere. They were like, as soon as he called them out for their mistreatment of the Uyghur population, well, they were like, well, y'all are racist. It was like, no, we're not. And the fact that the Chinese Communist Party is calling us racist just shows you how detrimental this whole BLM movement is to our standing in the world. It gives our enemies or adversaries ammunition against us,
Right.
needlessly.
I agree. J.O. Miller, both. We buy way too much from them. Okay. Jordan Aggie, adversary, and one of our own creation at that.
Mm-hmm.
Casey, enemy. Damon, enemy. Raza, everyone's saying enemy ain't got a damn problem buying Chinese stuff.
Damn
Okay.
straight.
Comment on that. Dave Sign, our boy. Taxation is theft and I still pay it. Doesn't mean it's all good. Yeah, libertarian, let's go, bro. Anyway, James Snyder, enemy. Eric Garza, the government enemy. People not our enemy. Okay. James Clark. Government of China is questionable. This is the last comment, guys. But little do people know that while you're complaining about the fact that we buy too many of their goods, are you truly willing to drop your hourly to pennies? Because if not, all the stuff like pencils, pens, to coffee tables will cost a fortune so that American companies can make some sort of margin on their products. So for the sake of this lavish life we live, we depend on China's cheap, harsh labor in order to live our comfortable lives.
Mm-hmm. I can agree with a lot of that. Now,
Yeah, a lot of that.
I think
a lot of that.
what would be beneficial to us, and would kind of, if we eased our labor away from China,
No answer yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just for one though.
if we eased our labor away from China and started building good relationships with countries in South America and Africa, not saying exploit them for their cheap labor, but they will work for less than we will, and they won't be mistreated by the government like China, like the Chinese people are. So just for instance, the median income in Latin America is around $12,000 a year. Okay, so if you're paying someone $10,000 a year, they're making a pretty good living in South America because stuff is way cheaper down there.
Yeah.
Now, and then you're importing those goods that they make up here and selling them for maybe a little bit more than what we would be under like slave labor in China. That's a win-win. They get good jobs, good pay. We get a slightly more expensive product, but we don't have to deal with China. We get them out of the supply chain. That's my solution to the whole
I mean, you
Chinese
even
labor issue.
when Trump was in office, like people started having to like move their manufacturing to other countries.
Mhm.
It doesn't all necessarily have to come to America, and that's what they're always arguing about.
Right.
They're thinking it automatically comes to America.
Mhm.
It's not always
with,
the answer.
Same with Mexico.
Right.
Like, my car was built in Mexico.
Right.
They did a great job, and his car was built in Mexico.
Shh,
Right.
don't tell people.
Right.
And that's the thing is they will work for less money. They will be able to afford a nice lifestyle.
Correct. It's not the same as China. China
Exactly.
is slave
It's
labor,
still
not
a free country.
Not they make less. No. It's literally slave labor. It's not the same. It's not the same thing at all.
With the Uyghurs especially, it is.
Right. You
Yeah.
can't. Yeah. Right.
So.
That has been our Facebook Warrior, guys. That was
it.
juicy as always. And that's the end of our show.
That's it.
So,
Wow.
stay toasty.
Stay toasty, everybody.
Thanks for listening or watching if you're on YouTube. You can find us at all the podcast platforms there are in the world. You can also find us on YouTube and follow us there. We are available everywhere. Please share the show if you liked it. The only way we grow is if you share, and that means you care. You can find me at The Real Sky Day on all social media platforms, and you can go see our website at therealskyday.com. See all the stuff we have to offer. We also offer apparel, and that actually does help out the show. therealskyday.com/shop, of course. But above all else, stay toasty. Toasty.